Okay. We're going live right now. We are now live. Let's start. Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Moran and I'm here with Andrew Velez, River Brown, and John Tortelli. This is now episode 142. In this episode, we are going to make our all-star starters and reserve selections while also talking about potential snubs that may happen. We want to give a quick Patreon shout out to Greg, Cole, On Bloods, Liam, T Grove, B Money, Ryan, Epic Lankiness, Travis Ball, Aaron Moran, Matthew Jimenez, It's Black Ace, Anthony, BJ, PJs, Mario, Langston, Jazzy, Juice, Johannes, Ruben, Brian, Ricky, E, Enzo, Sean Solis, Sean, Muffins, John, Sean Triplet, Court Cousins, Ben Mack, P. Dot, George, Hikari, Mateen, Dave 2 Freedom, and Jay Aqua.
Good old Jay Aqua,
blood
man.
Yes.
Crazy for that.
We have gained a lot of Patrons over the last day. Ever since Drew made that shout out, made the statement about it. We're just giving you guys till New Year's to join our Discord. Our Discord right now is free, but after the first, you guys got to be on our Patreon to be in our Discord. But yeah, I want to give a shout out to the ones that recently subscribed to our Patreon.
Definitely,
Greg, Cole, On Bloods, Liam Williams, T Grove, B Money, and Ryan Barcelona. Thank you guys so much for supporting in that way through Patreon. Those donations go a long way. And for those of you watching right now, somebody brand new is on the show, John Tortelli. This is his first time on the show, but this is not his first time working with us, Pick a Side. He's been editing along this entire journey. He's been posting the segments on YouTube and stuff, and now he's on the show, and he is very knowledgeable about basketball. He has his own YouTube channel, he's on TikTok, so he knows what he's talking about.
Thank you boys for having me. I appreciate it.
You already know.
Pleasure to be on here.
We're going to make this show about all-stars, all-star starters, reserves, snubs. We're going to talk about all of that. It shouldn't be a crazy long show, maybe above 2 hours. Then we'll answer some Patreon questions after. So let's start. The Eastern Conference starters. You got two ways of selecting this, right? Guards, front court. So give me your two guards for the Eastern Conference and why you're selecting them. I'm going to start with you, Riv.
All right, so my point guard, obviously, it has to go with Trae Young. You know, I feel like he's been the best point guard in the East. He's been the top 5 point guard in the league just this year alone. I feel like him putting the team Atlanta on his back with all the injuries and COVID they've dealt with, him still performing, averaging the double-double, he's been incredible. So I feel like he has the point guard spot on lock. For the 2 spot, honestly, my mind just changed after I just seen a 1-foot game winner. I got to put DeMar DeRozan.
Over Levine?
I got to put DeMar.
I respect
DeMar has been the best player for the Bulls. I feel like Levine has been the 1B, but DeMar in the fourth quarter, he's done it for us this whole year. He's been efficient. He's been phenomenal as a scorer. So this year, I got to put him at that 2 spot. Harden, he can definitely have that debate, but Harden has his slumps this year. I feel like DeMar has just been the more consistent player. So Trae Young and DeMar is my backcourt.
This is tough. There's some good players, but I'm taking what I think is going to happen because I know fan vote takes a big part of who's going to start in this All-Star game. I think James Harden's probably going to be one of those starters. He has one of the biggest fan bases in the NBA. You want to look at the biggest James Harden fan probably in the United States of America. You're looking at him with Joel Moran. He hasn't had the most efficient season, but I've been enlightened to effective field goal percentage, and he's shooting almost about 50% from effective field goal percentage. That's pretty solid. 22 points per game, which is a little bit less than what we're accustomed to from James Harden, but he's not the alpha dog on his team right now. Kevin Durant is the primary scorer, and he's being asked to do other things, facilitating the basketball, which he always does. He's averaging around 9 assists. Rebounds, he's averaging about 8 rebounds a game. So I do think, given the fact that his numbers still are relatively solid compared to what we've expected from Harden, he's taking a notch up in assists. He's taking a notch up in rebounds. He's just taking a dip in points because he's catering to his teammates. Now, the 2 guard for me personally is between DeMar and Zach LaVine. I think I might lean Zach LaVine right now because his efficiency is something that I have to marvel at. 50% from the field, over 40% from 3, averaging 26 points per game, and the Bulls are just a different revamped team. And credit to DeMar DeRozan 100% because DeMar DeRozan's points per game is similar to Levine's. His efficiency just isn't what Levine's is right now. And I think Levine is more exciting to watch. Personally, I think fans will lean that way.
I've got Trae Young. I mean, it's pretty simple. Offensively this year, he's been freaking awesome. And then you look at the Hawks. They're, and not their Klay Thompson, but they're Wiggins, DeAndre Hunter, been hurt this year. It's like for Trae Young, their defense hasn't been good, but it's like all these guys are injured. He's been doing his part offensively. He's been phenomenal on that end. Their defense, though, has really held them back. That's why the Hawks right now are not in the playoff picture. If those guys are healthy, the Hawks easily be a playoff team. So I think Trae Young should be a no-brainer. Like, he's doing his job. The playmaking is there. Maybe his best season yet. He's been freaking awesome this year. And then along with him, I got DeMar DeRozan. It's tough. It's between him and James Harden. But with DeMar this year, I mean, the Nets, they are a little bit better than the Bulls, but with DeMar, it's his best year yet. And it's like fans may lean towards James Harden because like the name, popularity, and brand. But DeMar this year has been something else. He's been efficient, and this is his best year yet in years. He's been playing his best defense in a long time for the Bulls. He's been fine this year defensively. Like, he's been bad defensively for a while now, but this year he's just been good enough. And that for the Bulls is the reason why they're a top 2 seed right now. They've been awesome this year, so I got DeMar. Yeah.
You make some excellent points. You want to know what?
That's actually a nice jersey. I forgot to tell you that.
I appreciate it, man. Shout out to my boy Brian. I bought a bunch of vintage stuff from him, and he got me this Flies jersey.
Yeah,
I also have a vintage a vintage Patriots versus Packers Super Bowl sweater that I got too. It's so fire. I'm gonna wear it one day on the show. Once I get skinnier, it fits me mad tight right now.
What's that Meek Mill line with the Philadelphia Flyers?
I have no
It's
clue.
on Dreams and Nightmares.
I forgot.
I was hoping one of you guys would pick me up right there.
Okay, look, let's talk about these starters though. I'm ashamed at you.
What'd I do?
You left out a Bull.
Zach?
You swap Zach. Listen, this isn't point guard, shooting guard. It's guards. Because of that, I'm going with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot.
Regardless of the Bulls hate that people may think I have, I don't have Bulls hate. I love. In fact, I have a Bull. I just bought a vintage Bulls shirt.
Wow.
Championships. It has all the championships on the back of it written out. I was thinking about giving it to you, but it's extra large. I don't know if it fits you.
No, I'm a medium.
Yeah.
26 waist, right?
He does have his ribs waist is snatched, bro. Ribs waist is snatched.
I set Joel up for that, bro.
DeMar and Zach have been the best duo in the NBA this season. DeMar DeRozan shooting 50% from the field, 36% from three. He's averaging 27 points per game. He's having a better season than James Harden. James Harden is going to be better when the year ends because he's just had back-to-back 30-point games. There's no doubt. And he's been better by far throughout the career. It's not even close. Zach LaVine, he's averaging 26.3 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 50% from the field and 41% from three.
He's a freak.
Trae Young, yes, statistically is having a better season than both of these guys. But Atlanta right now, they're a playing team. The Chicago Bulls are the second seed in the Eastern Conference. And I know a lot of people don't like doing it nowadays because last year we had Bradley Beal starting in the All-Star game. We don't reward winning. We have to reward winning. And the Bulls are winning. And Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan are two of the main reasons why. I wasn't going to pick James Harden here. You know, I know you guys thought I was. No, I wasn't. I had to give you guys a little bit of a curveball.
That definitely was a curveball. I wasn't expecting to be the only one with Harden.
No, this is actually a curveball. I can't take Trae Young out. I know, and trust me, I know Zach has been amazing. DeMar has been amazing. But for Trae Young, like he said, the injuries have hit this team hard. You know, COVID has hit this team
Very
hard.
true.
And Trae has still been able offensively, not just with the scoring, but the playmaking has put this team on his back. He's been better than expected. And his defense, trust me, it's horrible. He is one of the worst defenders in the league, but offensively, he's been as good as Zach and DeMar because of the fact that he can playmate and create for others, and his team's been hurt.
You're right. And right now we are currently live for you guys that are listening and or watching. And right now somebody said, is this live? Let's talk about that buzzer beater, though.
Yo,
The
that
one
was
footer?
crazy. That was crazy.
I don't know.
No, how DeMar DeRozan gets a lot of, I wouldn't say disrespect, but people don't give him as much praise because his offensive game is pretty limited to within the three-point line. He has taken that step in his game this season, shooting 35% from three-point range. to hit that game winner off one leg, 4-3 for the win. Impressive, regardless of if it's against my Pacers or not.
How many guys have we seen get better at age 30 or up like this? Like, I don't think he's ever played like this in Toronto. Being this good defensively, being able to shoot an average percentage from the three-point line, being
Toronto
this effective.
did play like this, though.
On
not
defense?
not like this. This is a little bit different.
I feel like right when he reached his peak in Toronto, he got traded to San Antonio.
And I feel like that's another reason why I feel like now he's finally in a situation where he feels he has to show the world that he isn't just a regular, star player in this league. While he was on San Antonio for a few years, his talents, to a degree, kind of got wasted, given the fact that San Antonio wasn't a primetime team. Now he's on a primetime team.
In the playoffs.
But they're not in the Bulls' position where they're going to contend for a championship potentially. And that's what I think DeMar DeRozan's taking things personal this year, and he's really elevated his game to the fact where I'm going to get into this a little bit when we go into my reserves, but he's upped his field goal, his three-point percentage. All of his percentages are up this season as opposed to his career averages.
To that, he's never played with a scorer like
No way.
Zach
No way.
in his life. So that takes the weight off your shoulders when you have another guy that can do exactly what you can do, probably a little bit better because Zach can shoot the three ball at an efficient rate. So a guy that can go get a bucket just like you. Zach can go into the mid-range game. He can go out and take the three. He can take you to the basket. Somebody who can go bucket for bucket with you, that takes so much pressure off you, and that helps you. Same thing, not like because KD and Kyrie are obviously more talented, but them two, you saw it. When KD can go get a bucket, Kyrie can go get a bucket. It just takes the pressure off both guys. So I think that's what helping DeMar give that effort on defense. Give that effort in the fourth quarter. Zach is like, all right, the fourth quarter, your time to shine. DeMar, go do your thing. And he rips off 10, 12 points in the fourth quarter, 10, 12 in his third quarter. Like, he just goes in these runs where he's just unstoppable. And then Zach gets the ball. He rips off 10, 12 in a row. So I think that just being with that type of scorer really helps you elevate your game in another way.
Before we get on to the front court players, Lil Marco right now in the YouTube live stream comments in the chat, he said Riv is mad fine. What do you have to say about that, Riv?
Thank you.
Hey, that's it. That's all you can say. You say thank you.
Thank you, Lil Marco. Appreciate that.
On to the front court.
Said it to the perfect person too, man.
On to the front court players. I don't know if you guys are going to have the same as me.
It should be easy.
I thought this was unanimous. Kevin Durant,
Absolutely.
Giannis, and Joel Embiid.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I don't think we even have to debate that, but let's just talk about each of these players' seasons that they're having. Kevin Durant is I think, the MVP frontrunner right now. He's had multiple 50-point games this season. He's averaging 29.7 points per game. You think Nikola Jokic is frontrunner right now?
When Jamal Murray comes back and the Nuggets start to pick it up, it's going to get really interesting. Right now, Nuggets are not there. They don't have the wins.
He's obsessed
but when the
with
Nuggets start to
Jokic.
win games, Jokic, advanced numbers, he has all of them. Literally every single one. Zach Lowe was talking about on ESPN. Like, his season, record-breaking.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Just one question. You think Jamal Murray coming back is going to propel the Joker to where Kevin Durant, Steph, and Giannis are in the rankings to where he can catch them?
Well, Jokic
No.
is third right now, wouldn't
No.
you say? Or
Third in what?
third in MVP.
I would have him fourth.
LeBron or
What?
Yo,
who? All right, legitimately, who do you have third?
It's Steph, Giannis, and then
Okay,
Kevin Durant.
okay.
Those are the three because they're having great seasons and they're winning a lot of games. Especially Steph.
So you got
and KD.
Steph over KD.
No. That was
just the way
it's
you said
Steph,
it.
the Giannis. It's KD, Giannis, Steph.
I understand.
For me.
Okay.
Jokic this season has gotten better and better defensively. Like,
Yeah,
he's
of
been
course.
solid.
I think individually he's been, but for the MVP, it's
Exactly. That's what I'm
team.
saying. With Jamal Murray coming back, the Nuggets right now, their team is not good. Without him on the floor, they are one of the worst teams in the NBA. With him on the floor, near 61 pace, right around that mark. That's how valuable he's been to them. The thing is the wins, obviously. When Jamal Murray comes back, ideally before the end of the regular season, that's only going to help him. Because, like, right now, it's just like a committee of Will Barton, Monte Morris, and it's like, now Will Barton's hurt. Now what? So it's like with Jamal Murray coming back, that's only going to make them better. And I think they can become a top 4 seed by the end of the year. They're hosting like a playoff series. Yeah.
When is Murray
he's gonna be
supposed to
one
come back, though?
We don't know
saying
yet. It's really up to whenever he feels ready to come back. They're kind of leaving that door open for him to come back sooner. But yeah, they need him big time. And it's like once he comes back, he's going to be better than what they have.
So
It's
you
only gonna help.
I think Jokic is in the MVP conversation. I think he's top 3 based on the season he's having. Kevin Durant, the Nets are the first seed in the
He
Eastern
is.
Conference.
No,
he's
right?
averaging 30.
Let me get this straight. Right now, Kevin Durant is the MVP because they are the number 1 seed, right?
Okay.
Well,
That
he's
is
also
fair.
averaging almost 30. His field goal percentage is ridiculous. His 3-point percentage is
Yes.
ridiculous.
But Jokic this year has been,
He's been
way more
phenomenal,
valuable than his team.
To a degree, but you're telling me if you take Kevin Durant off the team completely, that they're not going. Well, I guess they have James Harden, so they can stay afloat. Of course they'd get worse, but that's what I'm saying. They'd stay afloat. The Nuggets without Jokic,
KD's
like
also averaging 8 rebounds and he's 6 assists.
Oh no, he's been unbelievable.
The Joker over DeMar?
MVP, bro? You're dead ass?
I'm dead serious.
No, I mean, listen, I probably would have Jokic over DeMar, but
Yes.
it's a conversation.
I think it has.
How
to,
is it?
It's a
It's not a
conversation. They're winning.
How is it not
They're
a
winning.
conversation?
It's not a conversation.
They're
How is it
winning.
not a conversation?
It's just not.
No, stop it, man.
Jokic's season is just way
I
better.
agree.
No,
but
see,
they're
but
not-
see, it's you. DeMar DeRozan walks into Chicago. They were a 10th seed before.
Nah, your boy Lonzo walked in too.
But you don't do that. You can't say that. You can't say that.
But you can, and that's what I'm
No,
saying.
I'm saying,
you,
but look, DeMar gets there. Lonzo obviously comes in. They are instantly become a number 1 seed. Like, we're not just a top 2 seed. We're tied for 1. And I'm not saying the Joker isn't having a better individual season. He definitely is. He is, without a doubt. He's having the best individual season in the league. But MVP is about winning games. And DeMar is top 2 in the league. He's tied for 1 after tonight. He'll be tied for number 1 seed in the league. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying I will put him over, but it has to be a conversation. If winning matters in the MVP race, it has to be.
The Nuggets currently sit at the 5th seed. With all the injuries they've had,
That's incredible.
Jokic
That
is
pretty
doing
damn
this
good.
with guys on the go. They're signing Devon Reed, all these guys. Like, they need them. One guy's dropping after another. No Jamal Murray. Aaron Gordon could be out sometimes. Will Barton's out. He's doing this on the fly with these random players, and he's building chemistry with them like that. As soon as they come in, he knows exactly where they are offensively, reading the defense. I mean, it's remarkable how good he is offensively. And then defensively this year, he's having his best year I've ever seen.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a
So
doubt.
it's like, this is the best center in basketball, the most valuable player to his team. The winning is the one thing that's going to prevent him from going back to back. When Jamal Murray comes back, I think they're going to win more games. Again, they're thinly the number 5 seed right now. I really think with Jamal Murray coming back,
What's the
that's
record?
what they need. 17-16.
that 5 through 9, 10
It's
is
like- it's
it's
a lot.
really,
very
it's,
tight.
it's
See,
really
that's the
tight
thing.
right
1
now.
to 3 is about what they're like 20 wins,
There are
22
gaps.
Yeah,
wins.
they're
It's a
down the
gap.
road.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Even
be tough for
Memphis
all
is
those other
pulling away
teams.
right now.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
So, like we said, we think KD, Giannis, and Embiid, we all have them starting in the front court. That's pretty easy. Giannis, the best power forward in basketball, coming fresh off a championship. Joel Embiid, second best center in basketball. When he's played, Philly has been good, but
He just had a great game last night.
yeah, he just did beating Brooklyn.
Yep.
You know, waving off KD.
That's one of his bigger wins of recent memory.
It's not hard to beat Brooklyn,
You don't think so?
2-0.
Okay. I got you.
On to the reserves now.
Here we go.
I picked 7 reserves, but I'm aware that I think it may be 6. Let's start off with the guards. I'm going to name one guard I have in my reserves. Then you name yours, and you name yours, and you name yours. So
All
we're
right.
each going to go with one reserve each until we finish ours. I think this one has to be Trae Young. Trae Young's the first guy that gets into the All-Star game from a reserve spot, averaging 27 and 9, shooting 45% from the field and 37% from 3. The Hawks aren't winning, but they've had a lot of injuries. Trae Young has been that one consistent, and he's the first guy off the reserves list for me.
For me, since Trey and DeMar started, the first guy off for me is Zach. He
Respect.
something in that USA team put a switch in his head. He's been better defensively. He's been better as a playmaker. The efficiency's been there since last year, so we knew that wasn't going to really change. And he's just been a different type of player for them this year, being a better leader and has more control of the game. So for me, the first guy is Zach.
100% mine's Trae Young. Trae Young just misses the starting list for me just because I think James Harden has the fans and Zach LaVine's having a great season, a more winning, successful season than what Trae Young's having. But again, that's not Trae Young's fault. He's dealt with the team has dealt with a lot of injuries to the defense specifically. Now, he's been spectacular, averaging over 27 points a game. His playmaking has been what's been amazing to pair with this scoring as well, averaging almost 10 assists a game on top of almost 30 points. I understand it's 27, but 27 is a high number given the fact he's still facilitating at this high of a clip. His effective field goal percentage, look, you guys put me onto this stat, and it's fair. Shooting over 51% effective field goal percentage. Trae Young's been spectacular for the Hawks. And I do expect them, once they get healthy, to start climbing up in in the standing, and it's inevitable. However, as of right now, the only reason I don't have him as a starter is because they haven't been winning.
I mean, it's obviously James Harden for me. I had DeMar on there, but like his name, he's going to very easily. I mean, I think he is a great shot at being a starter. But then this year he's averaging 22 points, nearly a triple-double. His playmaking's been awesome, and he's working with Nicholas Claxton and Bruce Brown, like a guard in Detroit. So it's very, like, people are going to, obviously, beginning of the year, they're talking about him not getting the foul line. Now he's getting to the foul line over 10 times a game. Not the full season, but, like, more recently. And then he's playmaking so much. He's been awesome for this Brooklyn team. Not awesome in the sense, like, overall, but, like, he's doing his thing in terms of the playmaking. He's been scoring better recently. I think it's only a matter of time before he really turns it on. And then, like, with the fans, like, the beard, your man, he's going to make it. Yeah.
My next player is James Harden.
Did you tell him that you're going to the game?
Oh, I didn't actually.
Facts.
Yeah, this Monday I'm gonna go to the Grizzlies versus Nets game. I'm sitting baseline.
That is so tough.
So basically,
bro.
like, my feet are gonna be touching the court. I'm gonna get there early. I hope I meet James Harden. I'm gonna wear my beard. I'm gonna wear the Pick a Side merch. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna represent Pick a Side out there.
That's something else we gotta mention.
And
too.
I'm gonna try to. I think I'm gonna be right by where the Nets are warming up. So I'm gonna try to get one of these Nets players, maybe Patty Mills. Like, yo, what's good, Patty Mills? Come over here.
Even LA, man.
Yeah, LA. Be like, yo, what's up? Say, pick a side for me right here, real quick. So I'm gonna be going. I have James Harden here. He started out off the season really rough, and that's why he's not gonna start in the All-Star game. But as of recently, he's been on a complete tear. Back when we talked about Harden, if we're worried about him, I said that, look, he's gonna be himself by Christmas, and he is himself by Christmas, and now he's gonna start going on a tear. And he's going to finish off with numbers similar to what we've been seeing these last couple of years. But, man, if there's one thing I got to say about James Harden, man, he gets guys paid. Nicholas Claxton is next in line. He's going to get a big payday because of James Harden. Claxton is very similar to Capella. Capella was a late first round pick, and it took him a couple years to get situated. Once he did, Harden got him paid with all these lobs. I think Claxton
Capella isn't a
is
bum.
next up.
I'm not saying Claxton isn't.
He's not a bum, though.
I'm not saying Claxton's a bum. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's not.
You said get guys paid and name the one guy.
Yeah.
PJ Tucker got paid.
Oh, not because of James Harden.
I was going to say PJ Tucker left and went to Milwaukee and was basically the same role. He had the same role that he had in Houston.
Because of James Harden?
Absolutely.
In fairness, he's always talking about, like, Eric Gordon, those guys as well in Houston.
Eric Gordon
got paid before Houston.
Well, I mean, he also got paid $22 million right before they traded James Harden as well. True. So that was a fat bag, a little bit too much, but I mean, it is what it is.
He does get people paid. Now, your next reserve, Riv.
James Harden. He wasn't in my starters. I took him out, put Moran, but James Harden will make the All-Star game.
Without a
He's
doubt.
having a season that's better than most All-Stars' best seasons, averaging the double-double. Like you said, the playmaking has been there. That's been there all year. He's getting his guys open. He's putting guys in position to score. Obviously, the efficiency is something you want to see improve, but these last couple games, you see it. He's starting to get it going. He's getting back to the free throw line. So for me, James Harden to not make an All-Star game is just dumb. He's been an All-Star type of player this year. He's still one of the top 10, top 15 best players in the league. So I got James Harden in my All-Star game.
Somebody just asked, I wonder how Joel is feeling about Kirk on the COVID list. I feel like the Viking season is over. That's how I'm feeling like.
Yo, Muffins just went crazy on you.
What'd he say?
He said, who has worst hair, Riv or KD? Oh. Yo, I almost spit up my water.
Muffins is bald.
Yeah.
The nerve of Muffins.
He's such a good response, man.
The nerve of Muffins.
Yo, honest to God. Yo, perfect response. All right. My next reserve is going to be DeMar DeRozan. There's a strong case for him to be a starter, averaging almost 27 points this season, 4.5 assists, 5 rebounds. But again, what's been amazing for me is to see his percentages be increased from his career averages. Averaging 50.4, his career is 46. Averaging 36.5 from three, his career average is 28. And he's not a three-point shooter, so to see him just taking him a little bit more is great to see. His effective field percentage is 52. He's been spectacular. The Bulls are playing winning basketball. Suddenly, he comes over to the Bulls. I'm not saying that he's the only reason why the Bulls are having success, but he's a huge part of the reason why they're having success. And it's a no-brainer. He will be an all-star.
We're talking front court or just guards or like the reserves?
Guards right now.
Okay, so people are going to like this. I want to put Darius Garland ahead of Zach LaVine.
Whoa.
I want to, but I'm not going to because it wins.
But you want to.
I want to very badly.
Explain why.
I'm
you
a big
want to.
Darius Garland guy.
Over
Without
LaVine,
him,
though,
I'm not going to.
Nah, you can't do that.
I want to very badly.
Listen, I'm a big Garland fan too, but what are you saying? Like,
without him, Cleveland's offense is like non-existence. You know how reliant they are? Like when he comes back, no Ricky Rubio, no Colin Sexton, Rajon Rondo, it's going to be, I think he's going to go on a tear. I'm like looking a little bit in the future here because I think he's going to have a high usage rate with no Ricky Rubio. That's another reason why, and they're also 2015. Their record's starting to drop a little bit more with no Rubio now. I'm going to go with Zach LaVine, though, but I actually really did think about this one. And Zach LaVine, his team's one of the best in the Eastern Conference. He's been great this year. But yeah, I was very close to Garland, but Zach LaVine's been doing his thing.
You're saying, what you think could happen down the line is why you put Garland
in a way,
over.
but Garland is so valuable to that Cleveland team. And then defensively, he's been fine for them as well with their front court. Allen is Jared Allen. With him in the pick and roll, I mean, it's so similar to Trae Young and Clint Capella. It's awesome to watch. And the fact he's just in his third year, he's shooting 52% from mid-range, well from three, the pick and roll play. He's been just awesome this year for that Cavaliers team.
I think you're doing that because you like Garland, not because he actually has a better season than LaVine.
When Ricky Rubio's out, though, he's going to have a high usage rate when he comes back from protocol, man.
I agree with that statement because we saw Sexton go out and we saw Garland's play and his amount of touches increase. So I agree with that. That being said, the conversation between LaVine, that's where I struggle. I can't.
It's close.
LaVine,
it's gonna be close.
It's not.
It's going to be.
It's
It's going to be.
It's like
It's
maybe
not
end of the
close.
season, like you could say, like maybe.
LaVine is a potential all-star starter.
LaVine's, and
There's
again,
the first hot take of the show.
that is
My
the
first
score.
hot take.
Yeah, there you go.
That's because of his value. Like, DeMar DeRozan this year has been that guy for the Bulls. With Darius Garland offensively, the Cavs are awful without him. Horrible. He's so valuable to that team. He's more valuable to the Cavs than Zach LaVine is to the Bulls.
But the Bulls
That's
fans
my
just said
thing.
you cannot come back. So
Okay?
I'll tell you what.
I think it's going to be close.
The only reason why I struggle with that is, again, the efficiency. He's arguably one of the most, if not top three, most efficient players in the NBA. 50%, over 40% from three. His free throw shooting is almost at 85%. He's averaging almost 27 points a game. Garland's having a fantastic season. It's a great breakout season for him. But he's not playing on the level as LaVine right now.
But what he's saying is...
No, I understand for
and I
sure
think-
that it'll get there.
Yeah, it's
but
a good point.
do we think Garland's going from, what is he at right now? 18 points per game, 19
20
points?
and 7.
Do we think it'll get to 26?
No.
Nah, maybe I'll see like maybe 21, 22.
And do we think he's going to be
by the end
a
of the
50,
year,
40,
though.
85 type player?
He can be.
He could dance
he
around
can
that.
be.
Yeah, he's efficient
He
as hell
Can
now.
be.
Definitely.
It's going to be tough, but I understand the sentiment. I just don't.
He is in
the
line.
player is tough.
He is in line for some big
I feel like he's a
games
year
coming up.
away.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Fair.
No,
From saying that.
Garland has such a high ceiling, and that is unarguable.
He's going to have some big games. He's going to have
Just
some huge
to
games.
LaVine is that's where I,
I think he's
struggle.
really, when he comes back from protocol, going to have some big games. Like, Chicago's market is a lot bigger than Cleveland, so naturally he's going to get more votes. But I think in terms of value to his team, I mean, Garland is really
I agree
close.
with you value-wise, but who's been better? I think
Zach
it has to
LaVine
be
has.
Zach, yeah.
But again, like, Cleveland's next point guard is Kevin Pangos. Then Denzel Valentine is going to be before Rajon Rondo. So, like, the value of Darius Garland is so extreme. And for this Cavaliers team, they're not a player. Like, of course, Evan Mobley been fantastic. Jared Allen been awesome this year. But if it weren't for Darius Garland, would Jared Allen be in all-star conversations? No, he would not be. So offensively, I mean,
He's with Harden, yeah. He would be, yeah.
Kevin Love's been good too, though.
Yeah, yes. I mean, you need a playmaker to set a guy like Kevin Love up. So
Okay, that's fair.
Now
I
that's
definitely
been
see where you're
Rubio
going.
though,
Yeah.
off the bench.
yeah, but when Rubio's out these next few weeks, leading up to the All-Star game, it's gonna be more of Garland. taking on those duties.
My next guard pick is LaMelo Ball. It could have been Darius Garland. It could have been either or. LaMelo is averaging 28 and 8. He's leading the Hornets in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. I mean, he's doing everything for the Charlotte Hornets right now. And naturally, he's going to get in the All-Star game because he's the most popular player of any of the guys that we've been talking about. DeMar, LaVine, Garland, him and Trae are neck and neck, literally. He's even more likable and popular, I would say, than James Harden. Like, LaMelo Ball is a household superstar name. He's been efficient from the three. He's taken a lot of threes this year. That's why his field goal percentage is a bit lower than you'd like to see. He's at 43% around there right now. But LaMelo Ball, I think he's easily an all-star this season, and I have him in the game.
So actually, my next guy was Darius Garland, and you know, for me, him and LaMelo are neck and neck. I think what puts me over for Darius Garland is obviously the efficiency and the fact that he doesn't have another guy or two guys that can create their own offense like LaMelo has. You know, LaMelo has Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier. Darius Garland, like he said, he kind of does most of the bulk of the work for that offense. And then when he comes off, obviously Rubio does it. But for Darius Garland, he has to be that guy almost every night because this offense is very reliant on Darius Garland. And for the seasons, they're having a similar statistical season. You know, Darius Garland averaging 20 points, 7 assists. He's shooting 48% from the field, 38% from the three-point line, and 91% from the free throw line. He's efficient. He's improved as a playmaker. He's improved on defense. He's improved as a scorer, decision maker. He's improved in all facets of the game. So for me, I would lean just more towards Garland because of the responsibility and the fact that he's winning more. You know, he has his team as a danger. Cleveland is the dangerous team in part because of Darius Garland's jump, and they've been beating a lot of good teams. So for me, it's Garland.
You don't think LaMelo carries a similar responsibility?
I don't.
From the one, like, I agree with your points. It's the responsibility aspect.
I don't think scoring wise, no. I don't think he has to. I don't think so. I think with Miles Bridges taking that leap into a 20 points per game score, I think Terry Rozier being that guy, that go-to guy in the fourth for them, I think Gordon Hayward being there, he can also play, make, and score. I don't think he necessarily has to. He's going to get the counting numbers because he's just that great, but I don't think he necessarily has to be good or great every night. I think Garland has to be at least good to great every night because they're relying on him.
I understand that, but these Cavaliers players, a bunch of them are playing where we have Jared Allen shooting over 70% from the field. Again, he's a center, so that's going to be high. You have Evan Mobley, who's been efficient. You have Kevin Love, who of recent has been emerging on the scene as the Kevin Love, not the full Kevin Love that we were seeing in the past, but he's been averaging 20 points per game over these last 10 games. He's been spectacular. Yep. So I wouldn't say that it's just Garland and he like solely relies on him, given the fact that for LaMelo, he leads his team in points. He leads his team in almost every category outside of blocks. So in terms of responsibility, LaMelo does everything in that sense. He takes everything outside of blocks, and he leads his team in that sense. And I feel like what it'll ultimately come down to is popularity.
You just named all big men. For the most part, big men need a...
But Kevin Love has an outside game.
Big men need a great guard to score a lot of points.
Not
for the most part. Bigs like this, they need that.
But I think Mobley, we can agree that he has the talent that he doesn't need it. Exactly. But he's showing it early.
But look what you're relying on. A rookie in terms of a guy like Terry Rozier, a guy like Gordon Hayward. These are veterans.
Miles Bridges, but these are guys that are benefiting off LaMelo's ability to play make.
Hayward is benefiting off.
I agree with that. 100%. Terry Rozier, I struggle with that to a degree. Mostly Miles Bridges, though.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair to say. But with Garland, it's Allen. They run a 3-big lineup. Laurie,
because they have the personnel,
Allen,
the talent. Yeah,
Mobley. They don't have many guys that like Colin Sexton went down and they got better.
They did.
You know, that was his other go-to scorer. You know what I'm saying? LaMelo, Rozier, and Hayward. Those are 3 guys that can not only go get a bucket but create for others. You can't name 4 guys on Cleveland that can do that. I just named you 3 on Charlotte alone.
Isaac Okoro can't do that.
I know he cannot. He's a defender. That's a guy he's a liability in offense, but a great defender.
He is a great defender.
That's a guy in their lineup. Laurie Markkinen, he's a 7-footer, but he can't go create for others. He's more really of a spot-up shooter. Mobley's a rookie. Granted, he's been great, but he's a rookie. Jared Allen, we know what he's going to do.
But you were talking about scoring earlier on. Now we're saying passing, and I agree with that. He's the best passer on the team for sure. But I'm saying in terms of the response, if his
Garland's been more efficient
than
LaMelo.
Again, listen, you guys put me on. Effective field goal percentage, he has over 51%.
He's shooting
almost 40%.
Garland is a mid-range master.
He is.
Over 50%. I know it's a small sample, but that is awesome.
And LaMelo's shooting almost 40% from 3. So, I mean, it's
so
tough.
Is Garland,
it's tough. No, for sure. Listen, Garland's very efficient. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying in the sense of where the responsibility aspect of what Riv was saying for scoring, I would agree if you'd said passing, for sure, because that is 100% true, because there's a bunch of people on the Hornets right now who can facilitate the basketball. In terms of scoring, I just push back a little bit. But again, in terms of who I think will get the spot, you alluded to it. He's one of the most popular players in the NBA.
Well, the bench is coach's pick.
A little bit of both, but yes.
Voting has nothing to do with
a little bit of both.
Does it really?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was just a coach's pick.
I think it might be just coach's pick.
Coach's
for
pick,
reserves, really?
Yeah, reserve.
Yeah,
coaches pick the reserves.
You can vote all-stars right now, but it's just the starters.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Coaches pick the reserves, so it has nothing to do with popularity.
Listen, then that's a fair assessment. Then if that's the case, I'd give Garland a much stronger chance than I was originally giving him. But I still would lean LaMelo. I still would personally.
So that's your next guy up.
Yeah, that's why we got into this debate, because I chose
Are
Melo.
you finished with your guards?
Yeah, that's basically my guards.
So basically, Darius Garland does not make the All-Star game for you.
Unfortunately, he cannot.
I have one more guard.
Okay.
He's my biggest.
Well, I got
snub.
Zach LaVine next.
Sorry.
Darius Garland. I had Zach LaVine
Okay,
first.
and is that your last guard?
No, I also have. Can I say now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm forgetting somebody. I have a fourth guard.
LaMelo? Did you pick LaMelo?
Yeah, LaMelo. Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you have. Did you start Trae Young or James Harden?
Trae Young.
Okay.
And then DeMar.
So you have Levine, Harden, LaMelo, and Garland as your guards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have one more person. Do you have one more person?
No, I'm done. Well, Garland was my fourth person. We basically all said Garland.
So I might as well just say the rest. And from our starters, I had Trae and DeMar, and then my reserve guards, I had Zach, Harden, Darius, and I have LaMelo making the All-Star game.
Tough.
Yeah.
Okay, so we all have pretty a similar list.
Mm-hmm.
So on to the front court. Now, I think we kind of messed up a little bit with beginning this because I think it's just better if we just all say our guys from the get-go.
I feel like we're fine. Who do? Oh, in terms of like everyone saying everything similarly out of order. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So Riff, front court, who do you have?
So you want me to start over? Say everybody.
Just everybody you have.
So for
and
my
why
front
you have
court,
those guys?
KD, no explanation necessary.
No reserves. I mean.
Okay, reserves. Jared Allen. He has to get in. I mean, he's been nothing short of amazing. You know, granted, it looks like he's playing the same role, but Darius Garland has helped his game improve so much. And then defensively, he's been him and Mobley have been the twin towers for this team, and they've been incredible. His defense has been amazing. His offense has improved a little bit. So for me, I got Jared Allen. Jimmy Butler, obviously. Jimmy Butler has to make the team for me. I feel like he's like you said with LaMelo. He does everything for the Miami Heat. Play, make, defend, rebound, score. He's been injuries have hit him, but Jimmy's gonna get in. You know, he's been nothing short of amazing when he's played. And then my final guy is Jason Tatum. You know, I think Jason Tatum's gonna get in. Jason Tatum has the counting numbers. Jason Tatum, he's been inconsistent for the most part, but Boston, you know, new coach. Team they've been in and out of the lineup for both guys, so it's been tough. But Jason Tatum, I feel like he still deserves to get in because he's still one of the best players in the East.
I have the exact same three. Jason Tatum, it's impossible to leave him off the All-Star team. He started the season off a little bit shaky, but he's cooked up ever since. One of the league leaders in scoring, averaging almost 26 points per game. Jimmy Butler's my next guy. You want to talk about a guy who legitimately can do everything for a ball club and how essential he is to a ball club. That's Jimmy Butler. Even though, I mean, to a degree, that's not necessarily a fact because we saw him go out. We saw a bunch of pieces from Miami go out, and they still had continued success. So, but we see what happens when he's in the lineup. These last two games, he comes back. You have one game where he has a double-double with points and rebounds. The next game he comes back, he has a double-double with points and assists, and he has almost 15 assists. Jimmy Butler's just capable of doing that on a night in, night out basis. He stuffs the stat sheet. And in terms of defense, he's one of the best defenders at the forward position. Jimmy Butler's a no-brainer. And then you got Jared Allen. Now, Jared Allen has to get in, given the fact that the Cavaliers are exceeding every single analyst's expectations of them. You look at us, not a single one of us had the Cavaliers being anything better than the bottom 3 seed of the Eastern Conference. And that's just the fact that they were a young organization. That's really no disrespect to the roster. We all had their ceiling as being a play-in team. We thought that they had the personnel capable of making a run like that, but we didn't see this. Jared Allen's been key for that. Defensively, he and Evan Mobley have been the anchor of that front court. He's averaging almost 17 points a game. Again, like I mentioned, his field goal percentage is over 70%. But as a center, you expect something like that. But he's been incredibly efficient, and defensively, he has been unbelievable this year. I believe he's third in defensive rating this season. He's been spectacular and needs an All-Star appearance.
The first two you really can't disagree with, and Tatum and Butler. Butler, obviously, top 4 team. The Heat are doing their thing. He's been out, but sure, like, he's a definitive star. He's got to make it. Jason Tatum, the Celtics, are very much struggling right now. But I mean, like, Jason Tatum, only their competition to that would be like Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. And with Allen just putting up better numbers this year than Mobley. Mobley connects everything to get defensively. He kind of plays that Giannis role defensively where he's just roaming all over, and he synchronizes the offense on the perimeter and the interior, and he's a great passer for a big man. No one really sees that in the stats, but like, Mobley's awesome. But again, with Allen, he's been this awesome for them this year defensively with the rim protection. Then offensively, he's having his best year yet, 17 points per game. 10 rebounds. He's putting up 3 more points, 2 more rebounds than Mobley. Those numbers kind of put him over the top.
Really quick, though, did you guys see that Mobley, Dr. J reverse?
Yes.
George Gervin reverse? Like,
That
dude, how is he that big and that athletic? That ability to stay in the air that long and finish like that. That play was crazy.
He finished the game strong.
Yo, for real, though.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Evan Mobley, he's a unicorn. He's phenomenal. It's crazy. So we basically have the exact same reserve list. Tatum, Butler, Allen. I have Trae, Harden, LaMelo, Garland, starters. Like here, my Eastern Conference All-Stars, here it is. Zach LaVine, DeRozan, Durant, Giannis, Embiid, Trae Young, James Harden, LaMelo, Garland, Tatum, Butler, and Jared Allen.
I think the only difference that all of us have is that I don't have Garland. That's really the only difference. And
it's because you picked 6, not 7.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's supposed to be, right? 6?
I think it's 6 or 7. I'm not sure.
I thought it was 7.
Yeah, I thought it was 7 too.
All right,
Yeah.
look, Garland would be my
Garland's on
7th guy for sure. I mean, what he's been doing, we've alluded to it a trillion times already in this show. The fact that we saw Sexton go out and we wanted Garland to get more opportunity originally without Sexton being injured. It just so happened to take Sexton being hurt for him to see this opportunity. And he sees it like all of us expected.
Snubs.
Yes, Snubs. And
Garland would have been my number 1 snub if I didn't have the 1 spot for sure.
so getting into snubs, we named our All-Stars.
Yeah.
So that means people had to get snubbed. I don't know about you guys, but these are the most noteworthy guys that got snubbed for me. Jaylen Brown, Bradley Beal, Fred VanVleet. I know that's an interesting name, but if you look at the impact he has on Toronto this year, when he's on the court, it's huge. He's averaging 20 points, 7 assists, shooting 43% from the field and 40% from 3. Your guy, Domantas Sabonis, who
he was a stump.
we talked about was a star.
Outside the box. Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, I did that because he's injured though.
Yeah,
Did
19
any
to
of
10.
you guys have Drew Holiday?
No.
So when Chris Middleton goes down, Giannis missed a couple games with COVID.
That was like 6 games.
Drew Holiday picked up the slack for them, was incredible in that span.
I mean,
his effective field goal percentage is almost 55%.
I think he's been good, but I don't think he has a case against anybody.
And I agree. I think that guys that we named are all definitive.
Yeah, like with Bradley Beal, I think he has a case. Jaylen Brown, he has a case. You know, I think
to a degree,
Drew does.
Drew is interesting. He's averaging almost 17 points a game. He has almost 6 assists, averaging a steal and a half.
Beal and JB are at 24 and 6.
But JB has missed a lot of the season.
Who
Drew Holiday's played 30 games.
Who deserves to get into the All-Star game more? Drew Holiday or Lonzo Ball?
Drew Holiday.
Okay. I know. I just want to ask you guys.
You're a hater.
I just want to ask you guys.
Your Lonzo hate is ridiculous.
That was a subtle hate.
Yeah,
that was subtle.
It's like a
I'm
jab.
just asking you guys.
And then Miles Bridges is another one that he's not going. Well, Tyler Hero. We didn't mention Tyler Hero.
Yeah, Tyler
that's
Hero
another
was a
snub for me personally. Yeah. We spoke about it on the last show that we had, whether it be Garland, LaMelo, or Tyler Hero. And I think out of the 3, I do believe Tyler does have the least case to make it. But offensively, he has been phenomenal, has taken a huge stride in his offensive game this year. Definitely, he deserves to be an all-star, just unfortunately will not be. There's too many players right now for him to make it.
My snubs, Brown, Beal, VanVleet, Sabonis, and Adebayo.
I like that.
Do you guys differ on any of that?
I just didn't have VanVleet. You know, I thought about it, but I just felt like he wasn't going to get in because he's playing in Toronto. He wasn't going to get the recognition. He's been playing at an all-star level, though. But my 3 was Beal, Bam, and JB. That was my 3.
I have Beal. I didn't have JB. I feel like he missed too many games. I have Drew Holiday, and then I had Darius Garland.
I had the same exact thing as Riff. Bradley Beal, Jaylen Brown, Bam Adebayo. And Bam, it's like the injuries. Otherwise, he would have made it over Jared.
Yeah, I think Bam is doing exactly what Jared has done, but just they're winning more, obviously. He's just been hurt a lot. That's all that's been.
I don't know why people think Bradley Beal and Jaylen Brown isn't a debate.
No, it should be that Jaylen Brown's better.
Jaylen Brown is better. It took
I'm
Beal.
glad we all agree.
It took Beal until his 5th season in the NBA to average 20+ points per game, and that was until John Wall was injured and he had to really step up. But this year, Jaylen Brown is averaging around the same points as Beal. He's averaging more rebounds. Beal is averaging more assists, but Brown has been more efficient than Beal. Beal is shooting 29% from 3 this year.
And his field goal percentage is not that good either.
But Jaylen Brown, if you've been watching him play, he's improved a lot. He has a different type of twitch to his game this year. Granted, he hasn't played a lot, but his one-on-one game has improved. His arsenal of moves have opened up. He looks a little bit more comfortable. I just wish he's been more healthy, honestly.
Outside of these last 2 games where Jaylen Brown has struggled, basically every single game that he's played in, he's been arguably the Celtics' best player. As good as Tatum's been, I think you take offense and defense into account, it is more of a debate than just you blindly just take Tatum because he averages almost 27 points a game. The fact that JB can average 24 or 26 points per game and still be this lockup defender that he is, I think that should bring a little bit more conversation or shed a little bit more light on that JB Tatum debate.
Okay, and before we go on to our Western Conference All-Star starters. A quick shout out to DraftKings. You can use promo code TBPN on DraftKings, and you'll use that as your promo code and get some nice exclusive deals. Hockey fans, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has a no-brainer offer that'll make you a winner once any shot gets past the goalie. New customers can bet just $1 on any NHL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores. The NHL got rid of ties in 2005, so you know someone is going to light the lamp. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, no worries. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports Hockey Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TBPN. Throw down $1 on any NHL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. That's promo code TBPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Now, before we go on to the Western Conference.
We're at 180.
180, yeah, I know.
I'm trying to get to 200.
I'm about to post it on my IG.
Now that we have finished the Eastern Conference starters, let's interact with the YouTube chat real quick.
Before we do that, let's announce the Pick a Side merch.
Okay.
I wanted to do that. We actually just set up our Pick a Side website. It's pickasidepodcast.com. There you'll get access to our episodes if you already don't know where they are. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. But if you interact with us on the pickasidepodcast.com, you will see our episodes there. You'll also see our brand new shop right there in the middle. You'll see we have 3 new t-shirts available. I believe it's gray, black, and white. The white shirt is extremely clean in my opinion. I think that's going to be the one that gets off the shelf more so than any other one. But I think all 3 of them look fantastic. $25 a piece. You guys take a look at them if you guys are interested. It's going to be a limited number. I think we're going to drop some hoodies after, but once the shirts are gone, I don't know if those are going to make a return. So get in while you can. The shirts look really good. You give us some feedback if you like them. If you want any type of specific design, we'll take all your designer input into account. But take a look at that. Pickaside.com. The shop is dead center in the middle. The shirts look really clean.
Yeah, and I just want to say this, man, because we launched a Patreon earlier this year. We're at 32 patrons right now. It might be a bit more. We're launching merch. We got the DraftKings thing. YouTube has been going crazy this year. We have like over 100,000 views this month alone, which is just unbelievable. TikTok is almost at 80,000. And this couldn't have been done without all you guys. Like, this is happening because of you guys. We get to talk about sports and interact with you guys. So any input you have on how we can make our show better, our merch better, our Patreon better, we're all ears for it, because at the end of the day, we're making content for you guys. Of course, we enjoy doing this 100%, but this is for your entertainment. So you let us know how we're doing, and we'll always listen to feedback. You were about to say something, Riv?
Yeah, sure. I'm not really one to get into the sentimental stuff, but just want to say thank you guys, for being there, making this a good time for me in my life. It's been a rough year, and shout out to Pick a Side, shout out to the fans, you guys being here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys. You guys have been a part of my family. So even you just got here and stuff. I didn't even know who you was, but shout out to you too and stuff.
Somebody said he looks like Logic in the comments.
There it is.
Wearing the everybody.
There it is. Logic.
And then he's wearing the everybody.
Because I was wearing his hoodie.
There it is.
In case
you
just for you,
like him.
just for the audience out there listening or watching, when Riv first came in through the door in the studio, we were just chilling out, hanging out, watching the Alabama-Cincinnati game. The first thing Riv says to John is, "You look fake."
That I would have taken that as a compliment. Like, you look like, oh man, maybe he looks too good to be real or something like that. I don't know how you meant it. But what else could you have meant by you look fake?
I don't know. He didn't look real. I was just like, who is this guy? And I was just like, I don't know. But yeah, you do like Logic. There it is. I found it.
I reckon.
Yeah, Logic. That used to be my dude. He fell off though.
What's your favorite Logic song?
Oh God, there's so many. Between albums, I mean, I'm splitting between Something from Under Pressure. I guess Buried Alive. Buried Alive. I love that song.
I love Buried Alive too.
What about Soul Food?
How does Buried Alive go?
Soul Food's one of my
I think
favorites.
that it's all a dream. Something like that. You know how the flow goes?
Yeah.
Everybody want to be famous. Everybody want to be a superstar.
Yeah, that song
My
my
Logic used to
favorite
go hard.
Logic song is probably 5 a.m.
That was like one of the first songs I listened to.
Me too.
Man.
That's the
was
song
fire.
that really put me on the Logic.
Yeah, Logic is dope. Is Logic corny? Is that what we're doing now? Are people still doing that?
Yes, people are still doing it. That being said, I don't like to join in on the Logic hate. I feel like his message is very positive. He's a good human being, so I don't feel the need
His
to.
music has been pretty stinky.
Unfortunately, I'm not a huge fan of his music anymore.
Well, he also said nobody's topping this at his peak. So I mean, once he
him
hit his
under
peak,
pressure.
Nobody's topping him at his peak.
Yeah, he capped.
He said that?
Probably.
You believe that? Do you
gotta
believe
think.
that? I'm asking you, do you believe that as a man?
have you listened to his early days?
Believe that as a
Have you
His
listened to his
mixtapes,
mixtapes?
yeah, like the
No,
Sinatra.
that's when I fell in love with Logic.
Nah.
Did you at his peak? Like, come
Back
on.
in the
Like,
day, he
nobody's
was
topping him?
dirty.
Well, peak Logic, like that was fire. I'm not saying it's like.
Because he's, yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay.
I'm not saying it's the greatest of all time.
I
but
understand if Lil Wayne said that. At my peak, nobody's topping me. It's like, all right, you could say that. But Logic,
I mean, that was his peak, I'm saying. So,
Okay.
like, he's not the greatest of all time,
No.
but he is so underrated.
no, he was tough.
Yeah.
Mixtape Logic was
Yeah.
OD. That was
Yeah.
actually the only, because I had him on Spinrilla when he was on Spinrilla. And I used to bump. I was like, nah, this dude
I
is
listened to a
tough.
lot of Logic on that piff.
Apparently,
Yeah.
Paulo Boncaro is in our chat right now, and
Really?
he has a profile picture where he's photoshopped into a Rockets jersey.
Oh,
And the comment that he put was talk about the Rockets. But what is there to talk about? Is there anything to talk about the Rockets with?
Unfortunately, I don't think any of these guys are going to make the All-Star game. I mean, you had Christian Wood, who's been underwhelming to a degree this season. Kevin Porter Jr. can stuff a stat sheet for sure, but there's just no All-Star caliber players on this team right now. Jalen Green, he has the name, the potential to be an All-Star one day, but unfortunately, I just don't think any of the Rockets right now will be All-Stars.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Hell no.
I'm trying to be nice. Come on, we got to guess.
I don't even, we ain't like,
Yeah,
ain't none of that. No.
Rockets really aren't it.
No,
They're
but
not it.
Everybody is saying Logic is corny in the chat.
But I will say the Rockets low-key won the draft. Sneaky. Like, it's looked like
Because of Sengun and
Sengun, Jalen Green, Josh Christopher. It's looking like they probably did win the draft.
No, I think, Sengun is really good, man. He's really good.
I love Josh Christopher, dog.
Somebody on Twitter when they're like 100, whatever the anniversary was for like the NBA or basketball itself when James Naismith made it. Somebody was like, never in his wildest dreams could he even imagine Alperen Şengün.
He couldn't. What the hell?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Him in the post is flicking around back behind the back passes left and right. I mean, it's ridiculous some of the stuff
He's
going to
be an all-star one day.
It's Jokic like his
I was going to say
awareness.
Sengun's baby Jokic or too
I mean,
soon
it's
to
so
say?
soon to say that, but his like awareness and IQ and his feel for the game is awesome. Like out of the post, like the passes he makes are
You know
not
who he
normal.
kind of reminds me of? I don't know if you guys remember this guy, Nikola Pekovic
Yeah.
from Minnesota.
I do remember
Yeah,
him.
he kind of
Yeah,
reminds
that's
me. of
familiar.
He was
He
he had
good.
some ties, bro.
Yeah, this is what Sengun plays like his rookie year, like Pekovic's peak.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they're similar play styles, but Pekovic, he had some ties. He was
But he
nice.
kept getting hurt.
So
Yeah, I mean, he was
Matthew,
nice to kill in love.
Matthew in the chat just asked, I haven't really watched Sengun play. Is he nice? Yes, he is a good player. Has very natural feel. Somebody said hot take, but Franz Wagner has superstar potential.
He definitely
that a hot
does.
take?
I mean, is he rookie of the year right now?
No,
He's not.
Has
I don't
to be
think
the
he
two
is.
guys.
He's top three.
Has to be Mobley. Has to be Mobley.
Yeah.
You don't think Cade's entering that
They
conversation?
did
slowly
enter
but
the
surely?
conversation, but they're so bad. Like Detroit is.
They are. They
so
lost like 14
I mean,
in a row, right?
Orlando
Something
too
like
is horrible. If it weren't for Franz Wagner and Cole Anthony, they would flirt
Well,
with being the
Orlando
worst team ever.
is
you know?
horrible, but they've dealt with so many injuries. It's hard to really pinpoint like
I'm
they're bad.
very
Like
interested
Detroit's been
in
bad
seeing
with
Isaac
everybody.
come back, though.
You know, and Mobley obviously Cleveland, boom, and then Scotty had Toronto. Like they're still in it for the most part in the play-in.
Yeah.
So it has to be those two guys for me.
I think Franz Wagner, I don't know why he doesn't have at least all-star or superstar potential. He can shoot off the dribble. He has nice handle for his size. He's a versatile defender. He has good handle.
Got little moves to him.
Yeah, he's
Hey, Giannis
a
with the
bucket.
little- hey, whoa.
He's a bucket.
His Euro and pro hops to the rim, like people are like, oh, he just gets to the rim. It's not that simple. Like he has like so much flair to his game.
And what's
getting to the rim.
It's so weird for Orlando too, because like they're gonna be bad this year. They're gonna get another pick. Where do they pick? You know, it's like they have so many people at the forward spot, the guard spot, bigs, young, everywhere. Where do you go in this direction?
I think you swing for another forward. In the NBA, you can never have too many of them. They have Chumo, Kiki, and all these guys lined up. Jonathan Isaac. I think you just keep going with
And
them.
that's what I'm saying. Jonathan Isaac, what do you like? What are we
Yeah,
going to
where does
see
he fit on
him?
this
Like,
team?
you know what I'm saying? Because
I
if
have no
he
idea.
is there, he's probably going to play the 4. Wagner's probably going to play the 3, and you got Cole and Suggs in the backcourt. I think you swing for a big.
This roster is low-key cute.
Because do you really trust Wendell Carter?
Low-key.
Do you trust Mo Bamba?
Wendell Carter hasn't been playing bad basketball this season.
He gets hurt a lot.
Very fair, but when he's on the court, though, you got to give him that respect.
Yeah, he's been good. But
and Mo Bamba off the bench is a solid option also.
But you need, with Orlando, you need to swing for the fences. You know what I'm saying? You need to get another star potential.
At this point right now, do you think Orlando is a free agent destination?
No,
of course
they never had.
That's exactly
their ownership
my point.
hasn't provided.
They have, and to a degree, they kind of did hit a home run. Franz Wagner, I was very critical of that Franz Wagner pick, and I was incredibly wrong. He has been been amazing. You were hurt when I was critical.
No, a lot of us were.
Oh, for sure.
Dude,
I was hurt when you took Usman Garuba.
that was our first.
Wagner was luck.
That was funny, man.
Wagner was luck.
I don't know, man.
Luck. Let's be honest, and we all know this at the table. We thought he was just going to be a good player.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say.
I thought Franz Wagner was going to be a serviceable role player for 10 to 15
but you
years.
Can't say luck. So then
Cole, they got lucky.
Not even like that, but like a starter. I thought he was going to give you like 15
Cole
a game
Anthony was luck.
as a starter.
Cole Anthony was luck. They didn't think he'd be that good, and then his work ethic put him at that position.
Hold on, let me ask you this. Could it be that Franz has just peaked early, kind of like Chandler Parsons?
No.
Chandler Parsons or MCW or Tyreek Evans?
Because I think Chandler Parsons was 15-5-5 in Houston until then he went to Dallas, got hurt, and
He's doing this, like, it's not like Michael Carter Williams, like, where he's just putting up numbers. He's doing this in spite of there being no spacing. The ball movement's not good. He's doing all of this stuff. Like, the scoring's been awesome. He's the best cutter in the team. He's shooting his threes.
Different is the defense. The defense is there.
Parsons was a good defender, though.
Parsons was good, though.
Now, he was good.
Yeah,
but I'm saying, I don't know if, like, we'll see what happens with Franz. So, we're gonna mention 2 last things in the chat, then we're going to give our Western Conference All-Stars. So, first off, Wavy God asks, who's better, LaMelo or Andrew Wiggins?
Are we not all going to say LaMelo, please? Like, can we please?
He asked that like 5 times. I have to.
All right, I'm just, because I know you're very high on Wiggins. And
LaMelo's better, bro.
Okay,
LaMelo's
good.
better.
All right.
Okay, we're all saying Wiggins. We're all saying LaMelo.
Who we all?
So you think Wiggins is better?
You're wilding. You're lying.
Why do we do that?
I don't know.
What?
Why is it so like, LaMelo's better? Because he's more flashy? Wow, why is he better?
I mean, he does
what?
everything on the court.
Better than Andrew
I wouldn't
Wiggins?
say he does everything better, but I'm saying he can do everything where Wiggins is really a scorer and a defender.
I'm going to just say this. Wiggins is a catalyst for a championship contender team. I feel like that's valuable.
LaMelo is a floor raiser. Andrew Wiggins is a ceiling raiser. You know what I mean? If you're Minnesota, right?
What he's
you got
saying-
Andrew Wiggins.
Okay, I get
He's saying
Where are you going?
Like,
I get what you're
so
saying,
perfectly
said.
If you're Charlotte, their defense is horrible. That's like, it's not LaMelo's role to protect the rim and do what he does offensively. You know what I mean? If you're trying to build a championship team, you want LaMelo to be your main man.
So I guess for guys like that, we should compare value in terms of just who's better. Because LaMelo's probably better than 90% of the league.
That's like the Cat and Draymond debate, though.
Yeah, but who's more valuable, to it? Because in the end, it's about winning, right? So who's more valuable to winning? I'll still probably lean LaMelo, but I think it's closer than what people like. It's not just LaMelo wipe the floor like you said, like, yeah, LaMelo. I think Wiggins.
I think it is.
I think Wiggins' defense and then him being able to shoot the ball at a serviceable rate now definitely puts him at all right, we can look at Wiggins and be like, he's really valuable. But, of course, I'm going to go with LaMelo, though.
And now the second thing I want to address is that Leaf and Ian are in the comment section, and they've been wanting us to acknowledge them for a while. So that's why
I wrote to them.
So
both.
that's why shout out Hackensack real quick.
Amen. That's number one. What we should have shouted out at the start of the show. Everything that we're gonna do is for the city. Whether you guys believe that or whether I hold that belief, I know for a fact that all of us ride for Hackensack, regardless of where you from. What was it, Wyckoff?
He's from Waldwick.
Waldwick.
Talk to myself.
Ride for Bergen County. Say that.
Bergen County.
We're riding for Jersey, bro. That's what we're doing.
We're riding for Jersey, but
North Jersey.
North Jersey?
Yeah.
Bro, we can't leave out South. Come on. That's
No,
South.
we can.
We can. That's like North Carolina.
Listen, we put on for Hackensack. It's that simple. We put on for our city. This city is going to embrace us. It already has embraced us a tremendous way. You look at our percentage of viewership. They're our number 2 most viewed city, and that's just 44,000 people are in Hackensack, and the fact that that's our number 2 most viewed is very heartwarming to me. I love that Hackensack embraced us the way they
We
did.
have to make our first live show in Hackensack. We should try to book the Rec or something.
That would be dope. Oh my god.
We can book the rec and have
Say that
people.
one
We
more
can like book the rec and do a live show.
That
Oh,
would be
I already
crazy.
know we get jumping. I already know we get
That'd be
jumping.
crazy.
The Hack Pack. Do you know that the Hackensack Performing Arts Center?
Yes.
It's on State Street. That also would be a pretty good venue for us to do our show.
We
in.
can definitely do that venue, sell those
Yeah,
tickets.
definitely. Yo, that'd be crazy.
We could. I think that should be our first live show. But also the Western Conference starters. You guys want to do it in how we did it originally, where we just name our guards in front court. You just want to name your 5 right away.
Should we just name our starters? Oh, should we? Yeah, we should just name our starters and then our reserves, and then we have a difference in opinions. We obviously could talk about it.
Okay,
that.
so
I like that.
I'll go first. I think my starters. My starters are Steph Curry, unanimous. Donovan Mitchell. I have him over Devin Booker and Luka. Luka was easy because the Utah Jazz are winning. Suns are kind of hard because Booker is scoring as much as Mitchell. The Suns are winning, but Mitchell is I think he's been better than Devin Booker. Now my front court, LeBron, Jokic, unanimous. Here's where it was a bit tricky. Paul George could have been here, but he's hurt, and I don't. I take that into account. I'm going with Karl Anthony Towns. He's an all-star starter this year. He's averaging. He's
26
front
almost,
court.
right?
He's front court. He's averaging 24 and a half points per game, 9 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block. His defense has been better this year.
You'd be proud.
He's shooting 43% from 3. Like, that's unheard of. He's an all-star starter. I don't care what you say. Who are you putting over him? Because you have that face.
Are you done? Are you done?
Yes,
Obviously,
I'm done.
the Joker is the center. Everybody knows
Yes.
that's clear.
And Steph Curry is the point guard.
Duh. So, okay, my guys, starting 5.
Now, you guys are right, but they're doing it from guards front court. They're not doing it by
No, I
point
understand.
guards.
Oh, I
Yeah.
understand.
It would have been different if.
I understand what you're saying because I said point guard.
So we have the same backcourt. Obviously, Steph and Donovan Mitchell in my backcourt. Donovan Mitchell has just been the best 2 guard in the league, in my opinion. And, of course, Utah is back where they are at the top of the West. He's been nothing short of amazing, putting on for his team. So, and then Steph is Steph. So that doesn't need to discuss.
Staffordless.
LeBron is going to start for me. Obviously, LeBron at this age, year 19, has been incredible. Granted, they're losing. They suck. But it's not because of him. He's been absolutely dominating.
You're a bastard.
And then Paul George has to start. I don't know what he's talking about with this Karl Anthony Towns thing.
He does.
Paul
He does.
George has to start. And let me.
No, he doesn't.
He does.
No, he does not. He's hurt right now.
The Clippers.
He'll get named a starter regardless.
And he's going to be out for multiple weeks.
He
and
is.
he's not going to play. He's not going to be out. He's going to be reevaluated in multiple weeks.
I agree. I don't think he'll play. However, he's going to be named a starter.
Nah, bro.
All right, let's see it.
Paul George has walked into this season, and granted, the efficiency hasn't been there. Has been their lead playmaker, their lead scorer, dealing with injuries throughout his whole supporting cast. Kawhi's not there, and he had them when he went down as a top 5 seed. They were a top 5 seed in a season where people didn't have them. They had them in the play-in, struggling, whereas Minnesota is in the play-in. So for me, Paul George has to start. He's been incredible on the defensive end. He's been incredible on the offensive end as a playmaker. He's been the go-to guy. He's had a couple highlight performances like the 40-point ball in Memphis, the game-tying 3 against the Dallas Mavericks at home, which was incredible. So Paul George has to start for me. And then, of course, the Joker, he's starting because he's just the Joker. So that's my starting 5. Steph, Donovan Mitchell, LeBron James, Paul George, and then the Joker.
This guy, Gregory Castile, was like, I'll roll Paul George with one arm before I have Cat start.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Is Cat the most valuable player in the Timberwolves?
No.
Yes, he is.
Are you saying Ant?
You go out and say
say
D'Angelo
D'Lo.
Russell
I don't
is?
think it's definitive. Like,
think it's
I feel
D'Lo?
like I think he is slightly, but
So-
like defensively, D'Lo has been very
So
big.
you're saying
for them.
on any given night.
D'Lo has been big communication-wise and on his rotations. I agree. But I think, yes, when D'Lo goes out, Minnesota does fall apart, but that's because they don't have a serviceable guard behind D'Lo. Like, if they were going from D'Lo to, like, Rubio, they would still be fine. Like, D'Lo has these games where he goes 9 for 16, then, like, 2 for 16. So a Cat is the most consistent player on Minnesota. And honestly, I think Vando is more valuable defensively than D'Lo.
Okay, I got that. That's fine. I don't know. I think he is the most valuable player to that team, but it's like there's many nights where he's like not overall. It's tough. It's hard to gauge because the Timberwolves are also in the play-in right now too. It's like they're still not a good team.
Yeah, but that's the same
Yes.
thing. You can say the same thing for Donovan Mitchell, though.
All right, so for me, my starting 5 right now, I have Steph Curry, pretty similar to Riv, except I only have one minor change where I have Devin Booker in my starting rotation. You guys have Donovan Mitchell. And, hey, you guys are making valid cases, but I'll go into it once I name my 5. Then I have LeBron James, obviously. Then Paul George is going to be starting and Nikola Jokic. Now, the reason why I have D-Book over Donovan Mitchell, not that Donovan Mitchell hasn't been spectacular this season. I personally believe that given the fact that Donovan Mitchell does play in Utah, and Donovan Mitchell will be one of the best players in this league for years to come. He is fantastic at what he does. In the conversation for the best 2 guard in the NBA, I think it's a little bit more of a debate than you saying it's easy Donovan Mitchell. I know that's a little bit biased, but you have a strong claim for it. There's multiple arguments you can make for him being the best 2 guard in the league. That being said, I think the fact that he plays in Utah is going to be the main reason why he's not a starter.
Can I ask you a question? And because it's not, for me, I get you think it's biased, but let me ask you a question. In the regular season, they're both just similar type of players. They both put up similar stats, right? So when you were comparing 2 guys that put up similar stats in the regular season, what sets them over the top?
Personally, I don't have either of the 2 as the best 2
No,
guard
but I'm
in the
just
league.
saying in general, like what separates.
Who's the best 2 guard in the league for you?
For me personally, I have Levine.
Okay. What separates 2 guys in the regular season who have similar stats? Playoffs, right? Right?
Yeah.
And I think with Donovan Mitchell,
D-Book, come on now. D-Book had a pretty
he
decent
did, but
run
I think
last
what
season.
has Donovan Mitchell has showed us since he's walked into the league is he's one of the best playoff performers.
I agree with that.
In the league.
That
That's why
being
I put
said,
him over.
in Booker's first playoff run,
What about Donovan's though?
it was impressive. It was impressive. That I'm just saying he went to the finals. Whether there were some other factors that resulted in him having a easy ride to the finals is a different story. But regardless of that, he was the best player on the Suns on their way to the finals. Now, Devin Booker has been fantastic for them. How I've mentioned multiple times over the past few shows that we've had, when Devin Booker's not on the court, the offensive rating for the Suns is just not what it is when he's on the court. Obviously, he is their most effective and most dominant scorer, averaging 24 points per game. He is shooting over 40% from 3. His field goal percentage for the volume that he has being 45% is impressive. I think that he should start, and given the fact the Suns are arguably the best team in the NBA, that should also play a factor into him being a starter. Last year, he wasn't even named a reserve until somebody went out with injury and then made the All-Star team. I think that he has been past the point of his due diligence in getting to the All-Star game, and I think they should justify it by making him a starter. LeBron James, do I really have to speak on that? He's the best player
Or Jokic.
to ever exist. Yeah, Jokic is a no-brainer. The fact that he's doing it in year 19, the last stretch of games where he's averaging the most points per game in the NBA, he's been fantastic. Doing it in year 19 is absolutely unbelievable to me. I'm going to marvel at it for as long as I can. Paul George, the reason why I have him over Karl Anthony Towns is for multiple reasons why Riv stated. The Clippers' expectations without Kawhi this year were to be a play-in team at best. But what we saw from, what do you think?
I think people thought they were a playoff team.
I don't know, because
I mean, they're a
it's
team
tough.
that beat Utah without Kawhi.
But there was
and
also
took Phoenix to 6 without Kawhi.
Listen, and I fully agree with that. And what the Clippers did last postseason deserved the respect to transfer over into this regular season. However,
think that, though.
I
No,
didn't want.
I
didn't
had them
want
as
to
a
single
play-in
them out.
team, bro.
Yeah, exactly. But that's
Yeah,
what
that's
I'm
what I'm
saying.
That's a 7 seed, though.
That's what we
Yes,
said.
what do you
that's
mean?
what I
He
have.
said you didn't have him as a
But
playoff
we
team.
all
That's
know
what- correct.
the gap between the 7th seed and the 5th seed in the West, or
right
even
now,
the East.
right now.
Not
You had
right now, but
Minnesota
even
as
in
a-
previous years, 7-5 is not a big game
But
difference.
you had Minnesota at 5, and now you flip it as of today. Minnesota's like 9, and the Clippers
Yes, bro.
were
And Minnesota's
6.
like a 1.5 game behind 5.
Yeah, but you had Minnesota over.
If they have a 3-game winning streak, they're in the 5th seed.
That's true.
You know what I'm
but
saying?
They won't have that.
So
You don't know that.
I think people thought that it was. Some people thought that their playoff run was to a degree a fluke, and that they were just all playing very hot, consistent basketball. Reggie Jackson playing at a level we hadn't seen. We saw Marcus Morris take a huge step in his offensive game. Terrence Mann take a step in his offensive game. So people weren't sure or confident in saying the Clippers would be that same team. Paul George, River was spot on saying that he needed to be that MVP candidate. That's an obvious thought, and he has been balling up until this point. I think he deserves to be a All-Star game starter.
So Steph at point guard is like kind of consensus.
Universal,
Easy.
correct.
two guards where it's the exact opposite between Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell. Because this year for Devin Booker, he's shooting a career high from three, but Donovan Mitchell is shooting a career low. With Devin Booker, though, he's down last year in terms of finishing at the rim and his mid-range, but Donovan Mitchell's up there. So it's that weird connect where, like, Devin Booker's improved in certain areas this year. His three-point shooting's been great. His decision-making's improved as well. With Donovan Mitchell, though, he's getting to the rim. He's finishing better. He's shooting well from mid-range. That's a toss-up. So it's like, what's going to decide the difference between these two? Because the points per game, the rebounds, the assists, they're all on the same mark. And I think Devin Booker will get in over him because, number one, his name. But number two, the Suns are just slightly above the Jazz. I think those two reasons narrowly will have Devin Booker get the two-guard spot as a starter. And then at the three, Paul George. Karl Anthony Towns ain't starting. I mean, Minnesota, too. It's like, Minnesota, great place. I've never been there, but it seems like a great place. I don't think a player from Minnesota is going to make it over Paul George playing in L.A. That's the other thing as well. And then lastly, LeBron James, the man could lead the league in assists, scoring, play center, point guard. He's at the 4. And then at the 5, can I say it? The best player in the NBA? Nikola Jokic.
The best player in the NBA.
That's strong.
I think he might be.
He has a case for
It's
sure.
Kevin. It's Kevin Durant.
I mean,
LeBron?
No.
What are you talking
Stop.
about? Why?
It's Kevin Durant.
LeBron still has a case.
Case for what? Losing?
He's the
Yes,
best player
that's
in the league.
1,000%. Kevin Durant's the best player in the league.
you can make a case for like 4 or 5 different guys.
You can. I agree.
Yes.
I can hear the
I'll tell you what,
case.
and
That's
you know what's
open.
funny? Steph probably being last
Last one what?
in that conversation.
Before this year, though, is like he hasn't been playing as well the second half of the start of the season. But like before the season, I think people definitely had him
Who,
definitively
you saying-
top. Steph, top 3.
Oh, no.
definitively.
Me personally.
Yeah.
You made an interesting comment because when we were talking about Donovan Mitchell, you think Zach LaVine's the best two guard in the
I
league.
do personally believe
Okay. That's good. I'm glad you think that. So now this is what we're going to do. I looked at the chat and somebody put start, bench, or cut Levine, Mitchell, or Booker. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that now.
All right, cool.
Start, bench, or cut Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, or Zach LaVine.
Such a good question. I feel like we had this discussion during the summer.
It's pretty simple to me. Start Mitchell, bench Booker, cut Levine.
Why though?
Well, Booker has made the finals. Donovan Mitchell has been a top 8 playoff.
See, but
performer
I don't like that argument because you kept. Hold on, let me.
I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say.
But that's what you did last year, and
But
I
look,
know you regret it.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say we haven't seen Zach in the playoffs, and that's
No, that's not what I'm going to say.
That's what you're alluding
No,
to.
what I'm going to say is we didn't see Devin Booker in the playoffs, but
Yeah. But
yeah,
people
he
who
proved it,
know,
though.
you should have known Devin Booker was at that level.
But when they all average around the same numbers in the regular season, what can I go off of?
How about the efficiency? That Zach LaVine's efficiency
Zach
is
Booker's
significant.
shooting 42% from 3, I believe.
And
No,
so
Zach is
Levine
without
shooting
a
his
doubt
field
the
goal
most
percentage is
efficient
higher,
out
too.
the 3. I agree with you. He's the most efficient out the 3. But with
He's
Donovan,
averaging more points than both of them.
yeah, but with Donovan Mitchell, it's like it's hard for me to put him. I have to see it in the playoffs for him. I really do.
And you know what? I can respect that because I'm a huge advocate of needing to see it in playoff time. We just had this argument for football with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, so I can understand. That being said, I am not going to be hesitant to say Levine's the best shooting guard in the league right now because I haven't seen it in the playoffs, given the fact that people didn't think he would be 50, 40, 85 to back-to-back seasons, and he's doing it yet again. And now the Bulls are a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, and they're a championship contender right now.
Is he the best player on his team?
I personally believe so.
Okay.
So start, bench, or cut.
So I would start Levine. I would bench. This is tough. This is really tough. I probably would bench Mitchell, cut Booker.
You're gonna bench Donovan Mitchell?
Yes. I said I think that Levine's the best two guard in the league, so why wouldn't I start him?
That's crazy, bro.
Okay,
You don't
now
think
you,
that's
John.
crazy?
It is kind of crazy, but I believe it.
Now
Well,
you,
first off, James Harden's the best shooting guard in the league. He's been playing mostly shooting guard this year.
I hate you.
See, but we have this we have this
I wanted to go with
conversation
that.
so many times that is Kyrie Irving the shooting guard?
Yeah, I think we like.
This year with no Kyrie, he's been playing shooting guard. You know
Our
what I mean?
podcast has James Harden as a point guard, but I agree
Yeah, I
with
just
that
want to point that
sentiment.
out.
Yeah,
this
fair.
year he's playing 60% of his time.
Yeah,
at
we don't
the two.
acknowledge Harden. So
Yeah, Harden's
these three
that weird,
guys,
correct.
Yeah.
Yes,
Correct.
I know Harden's your guy.
yeah, we don't acknowledge Harden.
I
as a
get it.
two.
I get it. Your guy's Paul George. My guy, for the people on Pickers that I don't know, is Devin Booker. I've been with him since his second half of his year in Phoenix, and I rode with him for a very long time. But I don't think people are just going to say, oh, D-Book's above Zach LaVine. It's tricky because Zach LaVine's a better finisher, better athlete, better three-point shooter,
Correct.
more efficient. And it's just like, so Devin Booker is a playoff success, but it's like Devin Booker's had a better team built around him sooner. He also has not had the injuries Zach LaVine's had as well. That did not help Zach LaVine's development. So it's tough. So I think Donovan Mitchell, I would have above. And again, as a Devin Booker fan, I'm going to be real. I'm not going to be biased and say Devin Booker, that's my guy. But I'm going to have Donovan Mitchell as the best. He's going to be starting there. The bench part, though, that's where it's tough because it's a toss-up between those two guys. I'm not going to pretend like it's not. Zach LaVine and Devin Booker. I'm going to go with Devin Booker. My opinion may change tomorrow morning. No, it probably will, actually. But with Devin Booker, he's shown what Zach LaVine has not been able to. So I feel like it's just not right for me to put Zach LaVine, who hasn't even been in the playoffs before, above Devin Booker, who just went to the finals 8 months ago, 7 months ago, 6, whatever it was.
Yeah, I'm starting Mitchell. I'm benching Booker, and I'm cutting Zach. But if Zach performs in the playoffs, then I can have him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm trying to be early on the curve because I'm expecting LaVine to transfer.
You did the same thing with Rashawn Holmes.
What do you mean, though? Because Rashawn Holmes having a good season.
Sleep on the minute.
Thank you. Finally, someone with some knowledge.
Rashawn Holmes is good, but he just wasn't Jared Allen.
No, but you trashed him like he was garbage.
No, I just said it was a gap between those two.
I would say Zach is probably the most gifted out the three.
No, he is, for sure. He has more talent.
He has legitimately everything.
Zach's got a case.
What Zach just got 3 years ago, Booker has been doing in the regular season for a while now. And Donovan Mitchell, he walked in, he had it. So it's like for Zach, it's really just wait and see to the playoffs. Can he continue this efficient success? Can he have those explosions, those 30, 40-point games? Because we've seen these guys do that. So it's going to be tough.
Now, Western Conference reserves. Now, I'm going to get heat for my reserves for the Western Conference. Ja Morant has to start. I mean, has to be an all-star. Not start, my fault. Ja Morant, Luka Doncic, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, and Rudy Gobert. I'm snubbing Dame. I'm snubbing AD and PG because they're hurt. They're injured. I'm snubbing them. DeAndre Ayton, it was between him or Andrew Wiggins. And I went with Andrew Wiggins. And Anthony Edwards, I thought about it, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. But the surprises here to a lot of you guys are Draymond Green, but he's the best defensive player on the best defensive team in the NBA, and the Warriors are the best defensive team in the NBA since the 2016 Spurs. Andrew Wiggins is the third best player on a championship contender that's on a 60-win pace, and Chris Paul is averaging 14 and 10 on one of the best teams in the NBA. Damian Lillard is having his worst year since 2014, his lowest point total, 24 points per game. And he hasn't been very good to start the year. I'm snubbing Dame.
He's cooked up since he's come back from injury, though.
But still, he's just started.
No. Okay.
That's tough to...
Draymond was the one that kind of was
Wiggins?
No, Wiggins was on my team.
To make the All-Star?
Wiggins made my team.
There's so many, notable
my reserves,
names.
Luka, obviously, Booker, Cat for me, Ja Morant, Damian Lillard, Rudy Gobert, and SGA, and then I have Andrew Wiggins making my team.
CP3 you didn't think about him making the squad?
Nah, I don't have him making my team.
Really? Yeah, that's interesting to me.
Those are my guys. You didn't have Dame on the team?
Nope.
What's the Pelicans? Not the Pelicans, excuse me. What's the Trailblazers record?
No, it's
not good.
They are.
CP3 is more valuable to the Suns than Dame is to the Blazers.
Say that one more time.
CP3 is more valuable to the Suns than Dame is to the Blazers.
You know what? That is not the craziest statement I've ever heard.
It's a tough one. That's really a tough
CP3 is
one.
averaging 14 and 10, damn near, and the Suns are the best team in the NBA behind Golden State. It's really interchangeable. Every other day it changes.
And we saw Devin Booker go out and the Suns still had
What do you
success.
mean? They had...
No,
oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
Easy,
I thought you were about... Okay,
no.
yeah. I was getting ready.
I understand.
I was getting ready.
I mean, the thing is, with Portland, you have all those other guards. Anthony Simon's off the bench.
So
CJ
none
McCollum,
of you
Norman
guys didn't
Powell.
have Brendan Ingram?
Dude,
He's on my snub.
He's my snub.
Okay.
Our boy Jordan in the chat, the reason why I said Pelicans instead of the Trailblazers, our boy Jordan was not happy that Brandon Ingram did not make the list for you. He was not happy about that.
The Pelicans are the worst team in the NBA.
I know, I saw that.
I'm not going to give somebody averaging... If Beal didn't make it averaging 30, I'm not going to give it to Ingram with 23. Valanciunas probably has more of a case than
Last
Ingram.
year, wasn't Beal a starter?
They made the playoffs.
Yes, he was a starter. Yeah, which was baloney.
Well, he averaged 30.
No, he was unbelievable.
He was leading the league in scoring.
Yeah, bro, but at the time, they wasn't in the playoffs, and Harden was
You
averaging...
didn't say Gobert?
I did say Gobert.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I thought
All right, so for my reserves, here we go. You guys don't have, you have Luka on your team?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. All right, I have
We
Luka.
have to. Come
Yeah,
on.
no, he is going to make it regardless. I have Luka. I have Donovan Mitchell, who is that toss-up between him and Devin Booker. I have Damian Lillard making the squad, John Morant. I do have Chris Paul making the All-Star team, Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns. I'm surprised you guys don't have CP3.
I don't.
But why?
Wait, I have Chris Paul.
I thought you didn't have
No, I
Chris-
have him over Dame.
Okay. I didn't hear you say Chris Paul. Can you read me your reserves one more time?
John Morant, Luka, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Draymond Green, Wiggins, and Gobert.
I'm sorry. I heard Draymond and Wiggins, and like my brain forgot those guys. But that's a pretty fair list, and I understand why you would have Draymond and you'd have Wiggins. But
there's
the
no
name,
way.
the firepower.
I'm sorry. I get it. Draymond is the catalyst for the best defensive. There is no way he's getting into the All-Star game with an 8.87 average. There's just no way. There's no way. There's no way.
Advanced analytics.
Can
You
I?
don't get in off no advanced analytics.
You have Draymond over Paul George. Paul George didn't make your team,
He said
Because of injury.
Injuries? Okay.
If
I
it
know,
wasn't
I know,
for
I
injury,
know.
Draymond.
but he's only
Honestly,
missed 9 games.
if it wasn't for injuries,
Well,
PG,
he's not coming back until
bro.
the end
If
of the
it
month.
wasn't,
that's
if
true.
it wasn't for injuries, PG and AD are making it over Draymond and Chris Paul.
Oh, okay.
And I
So
still
you're
have
keeping
Wiggins.
Wiggins, so-
Yes, I'm keeping Wiggins.
Okay, so we're
Honestly,
on
but
that.
that's hard, bro.
So Wiggins
Draymond
over
is
Anthony
more
Edwards?
valuable than Wiggins. We
I'm
know
sorry.
that, bro.
But All-Star,
We know
All-Star
that, bro.
game, you can't. He's averaging 8 points. He's not getting in off 8 points. Like
But he
his-
has one of the best podcasts out right now. Draymond.
Yeah, nah, he's been pretty cool. He has been cool, honest to God. But Wiggins over Anthony Edwards?
Winning, yeah. That's why. I'm valuing winning heavy here.
Okay.
I'm valuing winning heavy.
But you're putting 3 Warriors in? Do you think that they'll have 3 Warriors in?
If it's not 3 Warriors, it has to be 3 Suns. So if it's not Draymond, then Ayton is here.
That's so tough.
Ayton is averaging 17 and
How
14.
many players do you have? I have 7 guys. I feel like
I
you
have
like,
yeah,
7.
he's got 7. He doesn't have Paul George on. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, because I had a hard time with that. I was like, do you put 8 guys in your reserves? And I thought about it. What
Aiden
else
was one of my snubs.
He's been ramping it up. Start of the year, a lot of people are like, with Frank Kaminsky in the game, the Suns' offense is better than when DeAndre Ayton's in the game. That's not good. But recently, Ayton has really been picking it up. So he's actually making himself a real case. Yeah. Is it my turn or is it yours?
No, I said my guys.
It's your
Oh,
turn.
word. All right. So Luka, I mean, that's self-explanatory. After him, D-Book, Chris Paul, and Ja. And then I have Draymond. Some people in the comments are not happy about Draymond making or other guys.
They aren't.
The Warriors' defense is the best defense since the Spurs in 2016. That's like pretty big deal, and it's
yeah.
because of the guy engineering that entire thing. And then offensively, his telepathy with Steph Curry. No one talks about it, but like you need Draymond Green along with Steph. Like Draymond
Is
gets
it
a rebound.
telepathy or is it, okay, I have Steph Curry, I'm just going to hand the ball off to you?
No, he
different.
knows where he's at all the time.
Because Draymond gets a rebound, Steph can just gut it up the floor. Draymond will run the offense.
it's-
Those two are inseparable together.
It's John
Okay.
Stockton and Karl Malone.
in a way. Yeah.
They have that telepathy where they just know where they are at all times.
I just don't.
Except
I just
Draymond
don't. I
doesn't
just
have the
don't
scoring
feel
Karl
like.
Malone has,
I
obviously.
just don't feel like when talking about the All-Star game, we should just value offense completely because defense is 50% of the floor. People were crying about Bradley Beal not making it when he was averaging 30, even though he was one of the worst defenders in the NBA. And that's half of basketball, but you were crying about him not making it. Draymond is the best defender in basketball right now.
So then, like, if that's the case, then Tony Allen never being an all-star, he's like one
Well,
of the
Tony
best
Allen
defenders.
doesn't do what Draymond does as a playmaker offensively.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true.
Like Draymond's impact offensively is huge as well, and you know it.
Tony Allen.
I'm just
I'm just trying to sneak
Tony Allen
that.
was that. You know, they left
He
him in the
missed
corner.
layups.
Like, here, Tony, go take that three.
he
We'll
had-
let you have that,
but
all right?
He was
It's
the
not
worst.
like-
no, he was the worst offensive
I
player
agree, but it's,
like
what,
in the
no,
league.
If Draymond wasn't the facilitator that he is, which
Oh,
obviously
then he
makes
might be a Tony Allen.
That's what
but
that was my
even
point.
I don't even know because he was able to shoot the three at one point. Tony
The
Allen was never
problem,
able
bro,
to score.
the problem with the Western Conference right now is that there are a lot of players that are averaging 20-plus points on horrible teams right now.
I think with Dame, it's tough because their team. He was cooking up. He was cooking up, and then his team got hit with COVID, and they just started going downhill. But he was definitely cooking up. But you know what? Since you're valuing winning, I can understand Draymond. I think Wiggins deserves to get in. He's been nothing short of amazing. Cat, obviously, you know, for me, SGA was a complete bias picks. Don't even acknowledge that. That was just strictly biased. I just want him to get in so bad, so he's on my team. B.I. I had a lot of thought about. He was playing for real, like a top 15, top 20 player before he got hurt. He was playing amazing. So it's tough.
Are we just gonna give our snubs too, given the fact that we're just saying?
I thought you was naming your snubs right now.
Okay. So my snubs was.
Wait, you were talking about your reserves right there?
No,
I was like going into both, but I might as well finish. My snubs were DeJounte Murray, DeAndre Ayton, and Kristaps Porzingis. Those are my 3 snubs.
My last reserve was Rudy Gobert. I mean, people love the clown on Rudy, but like he's such a misunderstood athlete.
Hate him?
I mean,
hating.
yeah, he's so misunderstood. Like the problems in Utah are not Rudy Gobert, rather the system that is Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert cannot lead this entire Jazz team in a postseason, and a lot of it is a roster construction issue. But in the regular season, he's doing exactly what's asked of him. He's been terrific this year, and he does his role to a T. So I have him as my last reserve. And then for my snubs, you hit your snubs first, yeah.
People hate Rudy Gobert. I know they hated the bigs back in the day, like Ben Wallace.
Who are your snubs?
So my snubs, I have DeJounte Murray as being one of the bigger snubs for me personally. What he's doing, the leap that he's taken in his game, averaging over 17 points per game, almost averaging a triple-double this year, 8.4 rebounds, 8.8 assists. He has been spectacular for the Spurs this season. I have Andrew Wiggins as being one of my snubs. I actually have Shea being a snub. Brandon Ingram's another snub of mine. It's tough to say that these guys would make it because, again, the firepower and the names alone on top of the offensive skill set and defense for some of these guys, obviously Rudy Gobert, Chris Paul for the fact that he's not the great scorer that he is, but he's arguably the best facilitator in the game still. I just think that their time is not now. And I think their name value for the All-Star ranks right now, and given the fact these other guys are already well recognized in the league, I feel like that's the reason why these guys won't get in.
Okay, mine. Did you mention Anthony Davis as a snub?
No.
Oh no, that's another snub of mine. But I didn't want to. Like, he's injured, he wouldn't make it regardless.
Yeah.
But
I did not mention Anthony Davis.
He was playing very good basketball up until the week before he got hurt. I understand people were saying the defense aspect of the things wasn't there, but offensively, he was still averaging 25 points a game, averaging over double-digit rebounds, blocks.
He's one of the worst shooters.
That's the thing. Yes, I understand. His shooting's terrible. That being said, his paint presence was still as effective as ever.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think the bubble was an anomaly? Like, do you think that was like...
No, because he had other great seasons before that, bro.
Great season.
What
is
shooting?
Oh, shooting. As of right now,
I'm not talking about him as an elite player. I'm talking about shooting.
Three-pointer, it was.
I have to say yes because last season his 3-point shot was not great. Even his mid-range shot last season wasn't what it was 2020. And this season he's been abysmal shooting the basketball from 3.
Is Anthony Davis, is his lack of productivity on the offensive side of the ball in terms of a shooter and on defense now less than it was before because of lack of motivation or injuries?
I think his whole game has just been lack of motivation. Honestly, ever since he won the ring, I just feel like injuries do play a toll on you. Injuries do take some of that motivation away from you because it's like, damn, what if I go out this hard, but then I'm going to get hurt again. I don't want to put too much effort because I could still get hurt. You know, they need me down the stretch. So that motivation, injuries do take that motivation away from you. It's like, damn, I could do all this and still get hurt. But at the same time, sometimes you see it in AD. He just, the grind just isn't there in his, like the grind isn't in his game anymore. Sometimes he's lackluster. Sometimes he feels like he just doesn't want to play. Like he doesn't have that I want to continue to get better mentality sometimes that he just shows. And I think that's happened ever since he won the ring. He felt like he didn't accomplish everything. He just doesn't have that motivation and that spark every day to get up and want to continue to get better.
For me, that's tough because he's saying since he won the ring. Last season I saw when he came back in, we were in the playoffs against the Sun. He was the best player on the court for those 2 games that he dropped 30 back-to-back. He was the best player. He gets hurt, the series completely changes. So I kind of push back on that a little bit because we see on the brightest stage, the playoffs, what he was capable of, and he was showing it to the world. This season, though, I can be a little more lenient with what he's saying because to a degree, it's kind of right. He came out and already said, I have nothing else to prove, and we already had a segment on that. Basically, how can you say that when you're in the prime of your career and you're supposed to be a top 5 player in this league? Giannis just came off a championship. How is that not motivating you to want to be better? You are supposed to be the best power forward in the league, and you're letting Giannis completely take that title away, and you're not even giving yourself a fighting chance. You basically are just saying, what do I have to prove? I'm done. I did what I had to do. The rest of my career is just going to be extra. And I can't agree with that, because when you are supposed to be an elite level talent, you need to continue to get better as your career goes on. If he was maybe 32, 33, fine, I can understand that. He's 28 years old. This is when prime time players play their best. Look at Kevin Durant. Look at Russell Westbrook. Look at James Harden. Look at LeBron James. Look at Steph Curry. These are all all-time great players that at age 28 were MVP candidates, MVP winners. Anthony Davis has, where he started off strong, had cooled down as the seasons progressed. And I would say it's a little bit towards injuries more so than motivation, but the injuries lead to motivation. When your body is not in 100% complete shape, your drive, your passion for the game is lessened by default. It just happens. So I feel like it's the combination of both, but I lean more so towards the injuries. But it's been the injuries his entire career, for I wouldn't say entire career, to a degree his entire career, but mostly for his time with the Lakers. 2021, we saw him go down, and he really wasn't the same. He came back, was great, but then he went down again. We saw Andrew Luck. I don't want to make this a football reference, but Andrew Luck, injuries took a toll on his mental. We saw him step away from the game because mentally he was tired of the rehabilitation process. Anthony Davis has dealt with minor nicks and all the, like, throughout the entirety of his career. I can only imagine the mental toll that is taken on Anthony Davis. But again, you're not in a regular position. You're on the Los Angeles Lakers with arguably the greatest basketball player to ever put on a jersey. The expectations are going to be different. People are going to want more from you.
Derrick Rose.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because Andrew Luck was a perfect compare. I was actually thinking of Andrew Luck right while you were talking, because he retired because of the injuries and the mental toll it took on him. Maybe AD's going through the same thing. You don't know. Who are your snubs?
Well, I had AD, and then two guys. Dame's has worst year since like 2015-ish. And then Christian Wood as well. He's been having a down year in terms of like the finishing at the rim, but he's still been really good this year, 17-10, hitting his threes. He's been valuable for Houston. And then, nice. Yeah, I would have those three guys.
Almost pulled a riv, bro.
It's empty.
Oh, thank God.
I would have those two, and then along with Christian Wood, Brandon Ingram, and SGA, I feel like those guys are all lumped together as those young players that are trying to hit that level of all-star, but they're just not quite there yet. And then you mentioned Jonas Valanciunas. He's put up 18-12 all-star level numbers, best shooter of all time by his percentages. But you know, he's actually like,
is he really?
No, I mean he's getting there. I mean, if we're actually counting the sample size, I mean he's up there. But with all that in mind, I think he's someone that like at least should get like some credit for his numbers. But I mean, the Pelicans are not good.
It's just so weird that someone like Brandon Ingram averages 23 points per game, and then his rebounds are like 6 rebounds and like 2 assists. And we think he's more deserving of an all-star spot than Valanciunas, who's at like 18 and 13 with great efficiency.
Yeah,
it just doesn't really make sense. It's because we look at those points a little bit too much, in my opinion. I think so. This is a weird situation right here, because our topic list is pretty much done right now. We only had 6 topics: our Eastern Conference starters, reserves, snubs, and our Western ones as well. And we're at 1 hour and 30 minutes.
It's the shortest podcast we've done in months.
This is half of our usual show, but we do have some Patreon questions we will answer.
Okay, cool.
First one is from PJs. Who is your 2022 NBA draft bolter? Someone who will end up top 10 that most people won't expect. My choice is Hugo Besson out of the NBL, playing for the Breakers, who will go at number 9 or 10, especially if the Spurs land one of these picks. So I think this is a Riv question because you're very in tune with the draft. So it doesn't have to be like an NBL player, but who do you think is going to jump up in the draft process that's playing in college currently?
Mine was probably Scoot Henderson. You know, I think him coming off the bench for the Ignite team or the overtime team, I don't remember which team it is, but he is one. Him coming off the bench, Ignite,
yeah,
and playing with Jaden Harvey. You know, him being the youngest on the team, being one of the most impressive guys on the team in terms of scoring, being at that age and being at that advance. I think he'll definitely jump into the top 10. He has the size. He needs to bulk up a little bit, but he has the mindset. He has the size. He has the skills, and he has the IQ, and he's performing off the bench. And it's amazing how he's this advanced at this age. So I think he's one of those guys that definitely jump into the top 10 for me.
Okay, now next question is from Greg. With the current NFL draft order, what are your top 10 picks in the draft next year? Also, how many quarterbacks go in the first round?
This is a you and Drew question.
Well, I think
This is tough, man. Scouting hasn't started yet.
Well, quarterbacks, I think there's going to be one or two quarterbacks that are first rounders.
Pickett probably is a first rounder.
Yeah, I think at most there's going to be two quarterbacks in the first round. I think Malik Willis and Desmond Ridder are both like day 2, day 3 guys. I look at Sam Howell as a day 2 guy. He could sneak into day 1. He has a lot of potential and promise. He showed very early in his career. And Matt Corral, he's getting a lot of hype. He might be a first rounder. So will Kenny Pickett maybe, especially after that fake slide.
I think Kenny will be a first rounder.
So we just have to wait and see.
If the Broncos have that a pick around that area where Kenny Pickett should be drafted, I would be more than fine with taking Kenny.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the top 10 picks,
bro.
In terms of the top 10 picks, I haven't scouted either yet, but I'd say Aiden Hutchinson.
I was going to say that's probably number 1 for
Stingley,
me.
Kyle Hamilton, Jameis Williams has to be there. Evan Neal. No quarterback is going in the top 10. No quarterbacks going in the top 10 this year.
Pickett, I think, will be close because he's in that 15 to 17 range. I feel like the more we come closer to draft day and we're going to see the combine, we're going to see his pro day, I think that his name will start to creep up more into that top 10 depending on the teams that shake up down there.
And now next question, Cole Hrubes.
Shout out to him. He's a new Patreon member.
Yes, he is. It's Hrubes. So Cole, I'm just going to say Cole. How much will Ricky Rubio's injury affect Cleveland the rest of the year? Sitting at 20-15 and 5th in the East, Rubio has been a huge part of Cleveland's success. How much will they fall off? Can Rondo make up for much of what Rubio did? How did you guys see the rest of the Cavs season going? How do you see the rest of the Cavs season going?
It's going to be tough. It really, everything depends on what can Rondo give you at this stage of his career. Can he continue the playmaking? Can he put up the amount of points that Rubio was averaging 13 off the bench, so can we expect that from Rondo? Probably not, but can we expect him to, be that guy on the break to make those passes to the bigs? Maybe, defensively, Rondo can still probably play the passing lanes. It's tough. Rondo, he barely played this year, and even when we seen him, he wasn't good last year or this year, so it's really tough. I think, like we said before, this is going to be a Garland moment where he has to really step up and carry this offense in the backcourt. Now Sexton's out, Rubio's out for the year, so it's going to be really tough. But I think with the way they play and the defense they play, being that they're one of the best defensive teams in the league, defense always tends to get you wins in the regular season. So I think they'll still hover around that, 4 to 7 range because of the fact that they play defense. But it's going to be tough. But I think, Garland, being as talented as he is, he can step up for them for sure.
I was very high on Rubio coming to the Cavaliers and what his impact would be. I thought it would improve Garland's game. I thought it would improve Sexton's game. Unfortunately, Sexton went down, but we definitely saw it boost Garland's game. And we saw Rubio be effective for the Cavaliers as well. John alluded to this earlier in the show. We see Rubio go out, and we're going to see Garland start to improve much more than he already has this upcoming season. This season currently. His shot numbers are going to go up. His attempts are going to go up. The ball's going to be in his hands more. And I'm sure if I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm happy with that because we see how he's developed over these 3 years early in his career. Now we're only going to continue to see him really take a ball-dominant type role, which I'm sure the Cavaliers have wanted since taking him on draft night. I think the Cavaliers will be fine. It's going to hurt. I don't think Rondo's the best replacement by any means. Riv is 100% spot on with the Hawks. He was a quarter of what he was with the Lakers in 2020. And with the Lakers this year, he really wasn't as effective as he was, nowhere near what he was with our championship-winning squad. But again, he's a different beast in the playoffs. But we didn't see that beast in the playoffs with the Hawks. I do just think the Cavaliers are going to be fine, and Darius Garland will be that reason.
I think you guys hit the nail on the head, but with Rondo, he's been bad these past years.
He's been really
with
bad.
The Clippers, it was a little bit of a different story because they had so much spacing. The Cavaliers this year have gone from the worst three-point shooting team in the league to around that top 10 mark. They have so many shooters. Kevin Love, Jetty Osman, Dean Wade, Larry Markkinen. So with Rondo, this is the perfect situation for him to get paid in the offseason. If he plays well at this Cleveland team, he's got Darius Garland to help alleviate some of the pressure. He's got 2 high-level role men in Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. And so much spacing. I just don't think he's like that guy to any stretch. So, I mean, he's going to facilitate for them. Defensively, it helps. He's got 2 awesome rim protectors behind him. But after that, it's on the offensive end, he's had moments in the bubble specifically where he's just lights out from 3. And I think he could hit his threes for this Cavaliers team. But it's Ricky Rubio was so good for them. One of the best years of his career. He was doing so much off their bench. He was so valuable. He still had that chemistry with Kevin Love back in their days playing with the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
It's tough. I don't think Rondo, by any stretch, is going to fill that void. He can, add some play or facilitate over Kevin Pangos, who I was talking about before. That was their starting point guard the other night. He was going to be starting. I think they trade for Rondo, so it's better than nothing. But with Rondo, he hasn't been good in a while since the bubble, and I just don't think he's going to do much for them.
Ricky Rubio has been one of the more underrated players in the NBA. Before the Suns got Chris Paul, they were the 9th seed, and it was in large part due to Ricky Rubio. Ricky Rubio really unlocked Devin Booker's game, DeAndre Ayton's game. He's been one of the more underrated players. But I think having him, his loss is going to be huge. There's no doubt. But Rajon Rondo is the perfect replacement. He is. He does everything Rubio can do. He's not as young as him. He's not as athletic as Rubio anymore.
Can do everything?
He's not as good a defender.
No, he's not, but it's not that far off either. It's not that far off either between Rondo and Rubio. I think Rondo can play make just as well. I think Rubio's maybe a bit better now. Shooting, they're both streaky shooters, even though Rubio has been very consistent this season. I just think they got the perfect replacement player for Rubio in Rajon Rondo. They're going to drop off, but they're not going to drop off a bunch.
Do you think he could fill that void as that second? Like, Ricky Rubio is taking, like, Andre Miller type, like, controlled fadeaway mid-range twos.
I love Andre Miller.
Yeah, like, Rajon Rondo is not going to be doing pull-ups and all this sort of stuff that Ricky Rubio is doing. Sure, not efficient, but, like, he's only going to bring facilitating and playmaking. He's not going to add that element.
That's huge, though.
And when you brought up the Clippers and their spacing, he became unplayable at times.
Yes,
that
matchup.
run.
Definitely.
I mean,
So it like even though they had the spacing, they couldn't play him at certain strikes. He was just bad. He
it's a
just wasn't good.
It's a lineup-based league, and that's the thing with Rondo in the playoffs. Like, you could say he could be that same guy for them, but it's like also a matter of size. With the Heat, he played so well against the Heat. The Heat didn't have a ton of size. Like Bam was their 5, and after that, kind of enabled him to play more in the game. That was a good matchup for him against the Utah series. It was a little bit harder for him to get him on the floor, and then
He's not hitting shots.
yeah, exactly. And then again, like the shot creating element that Ricky Rubio is at least providing, sure, not efficient, but he was bringing some offense. Rondo can't do that.
Is Hakeem Olajuwon better than current Jokic or Embiid? This is a question from the YouTube chat.
Is Hakeem better than them?
Yeah.
Shouldn't the question be, are they better than him?
I don't know. It's the same thing.
I think Hakeem is better, and I don't think it's particularly close.
Can I add? It's like it shouldn't really be a discussion, but offensively, Jokic is the greatest center I think we've ever seen.
Okay, that's fair.
So like there is that.
Ooh.
Jokic has that case very clearly.
That's
The best
tough.
passing center of all time.
no, yeah,
I was going to say,
But let me ask
that's
you,
what
before
helps.
that, who
That's
was the
what
person
helps.
you would say?
That's a good question.
Shaq is way better than Jokic, bro.
All time, yeah. I mean, but like
Shaq, Kareem.
In their primes, I'm
offensively,
taking
I think
Shaq.
if you
That's
talk
what allows me to understand your point, the passing aspect of it, because you're 100% right there. No other big man had offered that. That being said, in a dominant aspect, Shaquille O'Neal,
I think if you're talking
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has to be in that conversation. That's the only reason. Like, best off, it's a hot take to say you're not incredibly far off. I just think that he has his ways to go before he can pass Shaquille O'Neal and Kareem and Wilt.
Wait.
can I add one thing? Oh yeah, Will. I mean,
Why
Will.
are we
It's so
saying
tricky.
these names and not Hakeem? What's up?
Hakeem
Well,
for sure.
Hakeem.
for sure,
Well,
but
that was why you're
yes.
asking that question.
Yeah,
because-
Hakeem, player for player, is better than both of them. Like, I don't
offensive. Player for player better than Shaquille O'Neal.
If we're talking like skill for skill, he's more skilled than Shaq, but Shaq was obviously more dominant.
Correct.
That's obvious. But I'm talking about like player for player, Embiid and the Joker. He's better than both of them because he offers not the Joker. Obviously, as a playmaker, is the best playmaking big ever. But Hakeem was a great playmaker in his respect, and he was a good shooter in his own right. He offers a little bit of what Joker offers. And he's a much better defender than Embiid was. So I think he's like a combination.
Embiid's a really good defender, though. I thought you were
Hakeem
saying
was
Jokic.
elite. Hakeem was an
Correct.
elite defender. Like he offers what both of them to a point. What both of them offer, and a little bit more.
Embiid
Because
is borderline elite defender.
I wouldn't call him. He's great. I wouldn't say elite.
I mean, you're talking about Hakeem's defense or
Hakeem's defense.
Yes,
Okay, I mean, his defense is better than Embiid's.
No,
I mean,
definitely.
Embiid's a
I'm just
terrific
saying.
defender, but yeah.
That's what I'm like. He's definitely in that category of being an elite defender. But I agree. Hakeem Olajuwon, in terms of offensive, defensive, you could say arguably he is the best center of all
He
time.
averaged like 3 blocks a game.
Yeah, he's insane.
No, he was crazy.
His post game was ridiculous.
Yeah. I want to trace it back to Jokic for a second. You're a big PR guy with the great John Hollinger, right? Jokic has the highest PR rating ever.
Like, what is it like? Is it in the 40s or is it 38?
It's at like 34 right now.
32.3, which is the highest of all time. Like
It's not going
to
to finish like that though.
Yeah, I mean,
It was at 35 at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
and
I
it
mean,
dropped to that, and it dropped
I
pretty
remember
quickly.
it being like egregiously
That's
high.
ridiculous.
I was talking.
though.
I know. I was
It
talking.
is.
I was talking before about Jamal Murray coming back. I don't know when that exactly is going to be, but I expect him to come back before the postseason. I think. So with that in mind, it's going to take less pressure off of Jokic, and it's going to add familiarity. Because again, I was talking about before, he's playing with Austin Rivers, Facu Campazzo, Devon Reed, these random guys that they're just adding in, and he's snapping the finger. He's awesome with them. When you add in Jamal Murray, who he's played with for 5, 6, 7 years, it's going to be a different story.
Can the Utah Jazz make the finals?
No.
Yeah, I'm going to say no as well.
No.
I don't like that you laughed.
But
And I don't like that you said no.
it's true.
Go ahead.
The
What you got? I don't like that you laughed.
The
I really
Utah
don't.
Jazz are fundamentally broken defensively.
Oh my God.
In order for them to go to the playoffs, if they keep this current roster, they need to pray Donovan Mitchell is the
championship.
second coming to Michael Jordan. They have to. They have to.
Oh, because he said playoffs.
Uh-huh.
What about it?
Championship. You mean
No,
to get to
championship.
the championship?
Oh, I don't think they're.
You said to
they're
get
like
to
my
the
seventh
playoffs.
team to
You
win a
said to
title.
get to the playoffs, you need to be the second coming, Michael Jordan.
Yes, he
did.
meant
Oh
championship.
no,
He meant
to win a
championship.
championship, I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah,
In the playoffs, they can go to the second round. Sure, the issue is defensively. I was talking about before Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is so good at what he does protecting the rim, but on the perimeter, it doesn't matter. Like if on a matchup basis, they don't match up well against a lot of these teams that shoot the 3-ball well. They can just take the big off the floor, and that takes away the Jazz defending the pick and roll so well with Rudy Gobert. And all of a sudden, you're asking Rudy Gobert to defend the rim, the corner, and the point of attack. He can't do all three of those things. And then offensively, you're going to have to rely on Donovan Mitchell to be terrific. And with Mike Conley's injury history, I am not confident in that offense either.
This is good. You said a lot, and you're right. Donovan Mitchell up until this point hasn't been the second coming of Michael Jordan. Nobody has but Kobe. But he's been amazing. He's been nothing short of amazing in his playoff performances. He's been incredible. Let me ask you I just want to ask you a quick question. When the playoffs started last year, did you think Phoenix would go to the finals? Be honest, don't lie.
Yes.
You did.
I thought there's a chance. They're a top 2 or 3 team than me.
Did you expect Kawhi to go down? Did you expect, players like AD to go down? So you don't think a situation like that could happen where Utah can stumble and situation, because matchups matter. And I think Golden State, obviously, we can agree is a bad matchup for them. If the Clippers were healthy, obviously it's a bad matchup. But I think if they run into a second round series with Phoenix, I think that's a great back and forth matchup that can go 7, whoever you want to go, Utah or Phoenix, obviously. But I think they match up in terms of Ayton, Gobert, Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul. He has injury concerns in the playoffs, just like Mike Conley. So that goes in hand. And I think matchup wise, you look at Utah. There's teams that go small. Obviously, like you said, they can damage Utah because they don't have that wing defense. Those guys in the perimeter. But teams that have a big, I think those are teams that Utah can match up with. Guys who don't have elite perimeter guys, like guys who have like guards and have bigs. I think those are teams Utah can match up with. And you never know. They can make a run. I'm not going to sit here and say they can't make the finals. Phoenix just make the final. I think Utah is maybe not better, but they're just as good as Phoenix.
You touched on one point. What if a guy gets hurt, right? Last year, their backcourt is playing on like one leg, and Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley being injured. At the same time, a top 5, top 6 player in the league on the other end tore his ACL and Kawhi Leonard, and they lost 4 straight games. So my thing here is Mike Conley's not getting younger. He's 34. Joe Ingles is older. Neither of those two guys are getting younger. I'm worried about Mike Conley's health, certainly, because once he goes down, who's going to carry that point guard load? Donovan Mitchell. But then it's like you're asking so much out of him. Can he be? He's been a superstar in the playoffs, yes, but he has to be even better than that because, like I said before, they're not like their offense is freaking awesome. One of the best offenses I've seen in my lifetime as a fan. The defense, though, on the perimeter is fundamentally broken because they just can't contain guys. Like Royce O'Neal's nice, Boyan's all right. After that,
but in that same series you're talking about, and trust me, I know I'm an advocate if the Clippers would have won the finals if Kawhi doesn't get hurt. Kawhi played up until Game 5, if I'm not mistaken. No, he got hurt in Game 4. He didn't play Game 5 or Game 6. Conley didn't play until Game 6. They won 2 straight. They lost 2 straight. It was 2-2. Kawhi went down, but Mike Conley.
Bro, they were up 26.
No, I get
Like,
it.
that's
Mike Conley did
inexcusable.
not play the whole series. He didn't play and Donovan Mitchell was on one. He talked about it. He was on one leg. He had to learn how to shoot jump shots because he was hurt. That same Clippers team that didn't have Kawhi took Phoenix to 6 games. So I'm saying Donovan Mitchell, you get and obviously health is a concern. Mike Conley has injury concerns, of course, but you get Mitchell healthy. You get Conley healthy. You can't say they can't make the finals because they haven't shown you at their best. Like last year was probably one of their best teams they had around Donovan Mitchell. They weren't healthy. Even the year before in the bubble,
No Boyan.
Bogey wasn't healthy, so they haven't really even been healthy enough to even say that Utah is in the championship team because they haven't been healthy.
They had their guys game 6. They were up 26 points.
Oh no, of course they
But
blew the
that's-
game.
but
They blew game 6. Listen, I can't even.
And you alluded to the wing play a little bit too. That's why I feel like the Suns have that advantage. You have Jay Crowder, Cam Johnson, you have Mikal Bridges. That alone is the advantage that I see from the Suns and why I personally
Wait, say those names again.
Cam Johnson, Jay
the-
Crowder,
what's
and Mikal
the
Bridges.
advantage?
Defensively.
Oh, okay.
That's my main reason why I can't lean Utah over the Suns. And I think personally, Utah.
Wait, but why though? Because Donovan Mitchell averaged 35 on the Clippers. So what can't he do
Donovan
against
Mitchell's going
Phoenix?
to be fine.
Well, but you're saying defensively.
defensively,
you feel
correct.
like Miles Bridges, Cam Johnson, or those guys can probably.
They have the defense. Utah does not.
Whoa, huh?
They have the defense on the wings. Utah
To
does
stop
not.
Mitchell, right?
Mitchell
Well, my thing is
probably
Mitchell-
put Mikal on him.
Mitchell averaged 35.
Curry struggles when Mikal's on him. Not saying that
but
Curry's not
Mitchell
going to get
averaged
his.
35 on the Clippers, who have Kawhi,
Curry
Paul
struggled
George,
one game.
Pat Bev.
He didn't
Marcus
have the
Morris.
greatest game on Christmas Day though.
It wasn't because of Miles.
Yeah, like 30.
It wasn't because
He
of
had a
Bridges.
lot of points, but he was like
It
10
wasn't
for
'cause of
24.
Bridges.
I agree, but
I'm saying
just
the
he
Clippers
can struggle.
have better personnel on the wing, and Mitchell averaged 35 on a bad leg, like a bad leg. So I don't
Correct.
think Phoenix's personnel isn't going to really change much for Mitchell.
Did Mitchell get hurt middle of the series? I'm asking personally because I feel like the first 2 games Mitchell was otherworldly.
It was an
game
ankle,
3, he came back down.
He's
to
been
earth.
dealing with the ankle the entire year, though.
Really?
Last year he
Okay.
was.
Yeah,
All
because
right.
he sat out. There was that big deal. Like people want Donovan Mitchell into a bigger market, so they're trying to create these stories when he sat out of game 1. Everyone's like, "Wait, isn't he supposed to be playing?" And it was with that ankle issue that sat him out the entire end of last year.
Okay.
With the Mike Conley point, you said if Mike Conley can get healthy, are we confident in Mike Conley being healthy in the playoffs?
I'm personally
Do we have
not.
faith in that?
That's the thing that's like really Utah hasn't been healthy for the past 3 playoff seasons. So it's really tough. But that's why it's really tough for me to really sit here and say they can't do this or they can't do that because they haven't been as healthy as a lot of teams that went to the finals. You know, they
I
haven't
mean,
been
Suns,
as healthy.
Chris Paul really was in and out of that lineup, and they still had that playoff run.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Every team experienced some kind of injury issue. Giannis missed time in the playoffs too. Trae Young missed time in
Missed
the
the
playoffs.
game, though.
Correct, but they still won that game.
Mike Conley missed 5 games.
No, for sure. I'm not saying
He
that.
was
I'm just saying
basically six.
every no, for sure.
Yeah, game
Definitely,
6,
he was
like-
relevant. I'm just saying
could've
every
played.
team dealt with some type of injury issues, and that's just the NBA playoffs as they really are year in year out. There's going to be the injury that completely changes the toll of a series, but it's about overcoming. That's really how you get to the grand scheme of the NBA championship.
Yeah, I just don't think there's like outside of maybe the Warriors, I don't think there's many teams in the West that you can say can just definitively beat down on Utah.
It's just the Warriors.
I
Yeah,
think
it's
the
really-
Suns
Well,
can
Phoenix.
personally.
I think it's a
the Suns can
7-game
too.
series.
I think that's a
Memphis,
dogfight.
Memphis would do a great job against them because they have so much spacing with Jaren Jackson Jr.
Well,
playing better and
they
the rim
just
protection.
5 smoked them.
That
last
same
year.
Yeah.
team.
The same
Memphis
team. They
had the
just,
same
but
team
they're
last
also
year.
got a
that
little
Have
had
you
more
the-
seen what
experience
Desmond
now.
Bane's done
Correct.
this year?
Yes,
Have you
I
seen how
have.
good he has been? Have you
Yes.
seen what Dylan Brooks has been continuing to do? And how much for
Yes.
Jaren Jackson Jr. was basically like a non-factor for them in
Utah
that
would beat
series.
them.
And John Morant has gotten
It would be a
better
good
as well.
Utah would
series.
beat them.
They would. I would probably take
Ja
Utah in the
averaged
series.
30 and 10 that series.
But Ja really was the only shining player on
Why
that
do you
squad.
guys
There are a bunch of
disrespect
different guys
Utah
now.
like this,
Because we've seen what
Wait, so
happens
can
when you
the-
throw
I
a small ball lineup at
So
them.
can Memphis beat Phoenix?
No, I mean, I don't think so. I have zero faith in Mike Conley staying healthy for a 16-game minimum playoffs run.
Okay,
like, I have
that's fair.
literally no faith
So
in that.
so your faith is just strictly on Utah's health. It's not their ability.
Well, on the perimeter, they have this. In order to win a championship, you need to cover up your holes. Number one, their point guard, Mike Conley's one of the most injury-prone players in the game. On the perimeter defensively, there's another huge hole because if he's not healthy, you have a severe disadvantage against teams like the Suns and the Warriors have these insane perimeter creators. Like, do you have faith in Royce O'Neal shutting down
The
Steph
Warriors
Curry?
will beat the Jazz. It's not a question.
Well, what?
The Suns, it's a 7-game series.
Yeah,
It can go
I mean,
either
I don't-
way.
Why are we disrespecting the Suns?
What about-
they're arguably the best
That's
team in
not
the NBA? It is.
disrespect.
It is because I feel like
What's
Utah.
this is Utah?
Utah
Wait,
lo-
because
that-
you guys keep talking about
this is basically
these
the-
wings.
The
but-
Suns aren't on the Warriors level, bro.
Huh?
They are.
They,
Oh,
you guys,
my
they
keep,
are.
you guys keep talking about
They
these
are,
Phoenix
bro.
wings.
That's kind of
They-
crazy.
Joel,
No,
you're
it's,
tripping.
it's not crazy, bro. They're not
Borderline.
on their
Not
level.
on their level?
I know the record
Klay
says
Thompson
otherwise.
and James Wiseman haven't played a game yet, bro.
They're not on their level.
They have not played a game yet. They haven't played a game yet.
The Warriors are different,
That
bro.
is so whack.
The Suns beat them that one time, then the Suns
When
smoked
Devin
them the
Booker
next
was
two.
out the entire
And then when he
season.
played,
then
they
the
lost.
Warriors smoked them the
That
next
was
two,
Christmas
bro.
Day,
And Steph Curry didn't
Correct.
have a lot of his guys.
I agree.
Wiggins wasn't
That was a
there.
great
Poole
W.
wasn't there.
Yeah.
That was a great W.
Then Clay hasn't played.
That was a great
Wiseman
W.
hasn't
I
played.
agree.
Bro, so
Iggy did not
it's
play.
the Warriors and everybody else in the West, bro.
The Suns are closer. The Warriors are the best team in the NBA, sure, but the
Correct.
Suns are like
They're closer to the
not
Warriors because of
a
their
tier below.
because they're
The
closer to the Warriors
the
because they
Suns
match
are
up better.
winning those games because they play so great together and they have talent. But the Warriors, they played great together and they have overwhelming talent. It's going to be too much for Phoenix, bro. It's too much.
even with Denver, Jamal Murray coming back, I'm gonna come back to that point, and even Kawhi if he comes back this year as well. I think the Clippers, if they have Kawhi, could easily beat Utah again.
I think they can easily beat the Suns too, though.
Yeah, I mean we were talking about Utah before though. I just want to
But
I think
because I feel like y'all making it seem like Phoenix has this overwhelming, like they're so much better than Utah, and you guys keep talking about this wing depth on defense. But what has it shown you in the playoffs that
That
said
they could go to the
that-
finals.
Okay, now watch this. They played without Kawhi. Did not play that whole series.
They won in 6.
Yeah, Kawhi did not play that whole series, and they
Six
went.
is
They,
a long series.
and they
though.
went to
understand.
war. And they
For no
hold
Kawhi,
on.
yeah.
And hold on, because that series is so funny to me. They didn't even they
Game
went
2,
in
correct.
6.
Correct,
But let's be
correct.
honest.
I agree.
Paul George lost them a game.
He did.
So Paul George lost them one of the games, and
They
then
won
two of
on
the
an
games.
alley-oop.
Two of the games was like it was close, came down to the wire. So it's like that game was still a tug. You went to war with Paul George and Reggie Jackson. Those were the two guys you went to war with. So it's like the same guys Donovan Mitchell just went to war with by himself, like without his backcourt mate. So it's like it's just I don't understand this overwhelming wing depth with Phoenix when it hasn't shown you much in the playoffs.
we've talked at length about the Jazz's issues, like the things that could hold them back from going to a championship.
Championship, yes, but not beating Phoenix.
What is Phoenix's flaw? Like, what is the issue with this team?
They don't have a flaw, but they are great in a lot of things, but they just don't have that talent to put them over the top.
They're like-
that the Warriors have, bro.
I think they're the best 3-and-D player in the game in Mikal Bridges. DeAndre Ayton just entered his 5th season as well.
DeAndre Ayton, no, he's not a dominant center.
I mean, he's only gotten better recently.
But
He's
he
like
need-
an all-star.
In order, he's gotten better because the Suns are just a well-oiled machine. Because JaVale McGee, if he gets the same amount of minutes, is averaging
they
more
both-
than
center spot.
Why are we trying
That's
to
center
minimize
spot.
DeAndre
DeAndre Ayton has
Bro,
the fact
DeAndre Ayton has to be
DeAndre
like
Ayton
dominant.
he can
DeAndre
be.
Ayton has
He
killed
has
the
to be
Warriors
more than
3 times in a row. He has killed the Warriors every time they have played, and they have not led a game in rebounding. They have not led the game in points in the paint. They have not led the game in none of those. But DeAndre Ayton has killed them 3 times
Bro,
in
let
a
me
row.
ask y'all. Let me ask y'all.
that.
Let me
It
ask
doesn't
y'all.
matter.
Let me ask y'all. But besides free throws and a little bit of a mid-range jump shot, what's the difference between DeAndre Jordan and DeAndre
He
Ayton?
gets more opportunity.
I'm being dead serious.
DeAndre Jordan, bro, really?
Yeah. No, he meant-
No, DeAndre Jordan. I mean like Clippers.
Oh,
DeAndre
okay.
Jordan.
I thought you said
Oh,
whatever.
for a
Yeah.
second, my brain
Yeah,
just
I was
failed
like-
me.
I
My brain
mean
just failed
Clippers.
me.
DeAndre
I'm
Jordan.
sorry.
What?
I'm sorry. My brain failed me. I thought for a second you were talking JaVale McGee because I am on the same page with you. JaVale McGee has done a great job in that depth spot for the
No, yeah.
Phoenix
He's
Suns.
been awesome.
DeAndre Jordan, though, I mean, he
I
was
thought
an
you meant
All NBA
now.
player.
I was
Because
like, whoa.
defensively,
74.
but his offense was limited. DeAndre Ayton,
Is his offense limited to you?
I think he's not a great post
He got the little- he got the
player,
little-
They don't need him to be that.
but he has to in order for them to take the next
How do you
step.
beat the Warriors?
And
I mean,
you talk
him-
about what?
Yeah.
Whoa!
Him to-
Hold up!
Yeah, that's it.
You talk about Mike Conley. Chris Paul was hurt every single series.
But, and he still played, though.
His shoulder against the Lakers, he was hurt. Versus the Clippers, he was hurt.
Against the Nuggets, not
that was
just
the
gloss
only
over it, and that was the best series
versus
of
the Nuggets.
run.
That was the only series he was 100%
And he was their
healthy.
best
And
player that
then in the
series.
finals, he was hurt as well. We can't count on Chris Paul to stay healthy.
Have a
But do you
question?
count on Chris Paul or do you count on Mike Conley?
I have
Because you easily side with Chris Paul.
If Mike Conley is 100% healthy, him and Chris Paul are on the same
I
level.
disagree wholeheartedly.
Wait, what?
That is
Yes,
bonkers. That is
That's not
bonkers.
bonkers.
Whoa, what'd you
I
say?
got a question.
That's not
What'd you
bonkers.
I got a
say?
question.
What'd he say?
He said that Mike Conley, when he's fully healthy, is on the same level as CP3.
Absolutely not.
Wait,
Chris Paul is a much better player performer. Absolutely not.
Can I add
right
something?
now,
in?
yes, bro.
When Mike Conley goes down, who's replacing him?
Nobody. Well, maybe now Jared Butler.
You're about to tell me campaign, bro?
Yes. What did you last year in the playoffs? What did you last year in the playoffs?
Nothing. Campaign's fine. Go ahead.
Campaign
Campaign only had one. He had that one great game against the Clippers and disappeared.
But what about this season?
He wasn't great in the
What about
finals.
he won that game for them though?
Sure.
That was big.
And
that was a big
he
game.
did win, but he wasn't great. And in the finals, he didn't do anything.
And
bro.
this season,
He
Campaign's
helped
been
get them there.
Okay, but what happens when you get there? Nothing. He didn't do anything.
It's a lineup and
Mikal Bridges, yes, he's a great 3-and-D
We're
player.
also talking about one of the better defenses in the league in
Phoenix
Milwaukee.
also has to count on D Book to be phenomenal as well. Bro.
That I agree.
Utah
That I
does as
agree.
well with Donovan Mitchell.
But
Correct.
he will be.
But
I
so
think he
would
will.
D-Book.
He will.
So would D-Book.
I think he will.
D-Book has some discipline. He
His
was
field
very
goal
inconsistent.
percentage was
he was
mid,
inconsistent.
but other than
in
that-
certain series, he was very inconsistent.
Like when? The Clippers?
He let Pat Bev put him in absolute
Pat
jail.
Bev is
Are we
a
going to
great
talk about
defender,
Pat
though.
Bev almost breaking his nose? I mean,
That too.
that hurts a player who's
That
getting
is
the
a
rim
fact.
mask. Like that does not help a guy's
Isn't he
men-
Kobe?
No, he's not Kobe.
That's where you get me a little bit.
When you go with the rim next time, you got Pat Bev in your
No, I
back.
agree,
You know
I
what I
agree,
mean?
yeah, no,
So
I
that
get it.
didn't help D-Book as well, man. Like, that's another
It's
factor.
just sometimes when he disappeared, he had some stretches where he wasn't good. Then he come up with a 40-point game.
Look,
You're like,
I think Phoenix, they're contenders. This is how I view the Western Conference. The Warriors are stand-alone tier 1. In the tier 2, you have the Jazz, you have the Suns, and if Kawhi comes back, the Clippers are in tier 2. But if they're not in there. Tier 3
I
is
might put
every.
them in tier
What
one.
about Denver?
Denver's tier 3, bro.
And they get Jamal Murray back.
Yes, they got swept by Phoenix.
With all due respect.
With
Sorry.
Jamal-
Did you see it wasn't just Jamal Murray. Will Barton was hurt, and Will Barton's been their second best player recently when Jamal Murray comes
loving
back.
the
No,
Joker.
loves the Nuggets.
Tier 3 is Denver, Memphis. Who else is in the West?
Jamal
That's
Murray.
really
Dallas.
Lakers?
the only Lakers. You're right. Okay, I'll give you.
I would
the
put
show
Lakers in
respect.
tier 2, bottom.
Lakers
low,
are tier 2. I
agree.
forgot about.
I was
them.
waiting. That's why I'm like,
Just
hello?
because you guys have LeBron, but your talent sucks. Tier 3 is Memphis. It's Denver, and it's I forgot who else I mentioned.
You say
Dallas.
Not Dallas. I think it's
Minnesota.
tier 4.
You're Minnesota boys.
No, they're tier 4. They're tier 4.
Then that's pretty much it.
I think outside. Yeah.
that's
It's
pretty much it.
You have Memphis
so
tier 3 or
let,
tier 2?
let me do this again.
Yeah, please.
Tier 1 is Golden State. They're in.
By themselves?
They're in a space alone.
I think if Kawhi
They're
is
renting
healthy,
out the
Clippers
entire
are tier
second
1.
floor,
Suns
bro.
are not on tier 1.
No,
That is
the
disrespect.
Warriors are on a
disrespectful.
different level than
But that's
Phoenix.
okay. You can
You
still
don't think
say
the
that, but
Clippers would be tier 1 if Kawhi's healthy?
No.
Do you get the same
no,
Kawhi?
no. I agree.
You get the same
I agree.
Kawhi?
No, they
Can I
can't
add
be Golden
something?
State, bro.
Can I
I
add
think they can go small, and then
No.
it gets nasty from there.
Okay, can I finish, man?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Tier 1 is Golden State. They're standalone. I get that Phoenix has a similar record, but in the playoffs, I'm picking on Golden State 100%. Tier 2 is Phoenix, and it's Utah and Clippers if they have Kawhi. Tier 3 is Memphis, and is Denver. Then Tier 5 is everybody else
Where's
in the
LA?
West.
Where's LA?
LA's tier 2.
Okay.
Did I mention LA?
No,
I keep forgetting about
Because
this.
they
I'm
suck.
sorry. You guys are so forgettable. Okay, Tier 2 is Lakers.
It's really just LeBron
Just
is
because
tier
of LeBron.
2.
And I'd even put you on Tier 3, bro. I really don't have faith in you guys at all.
Everyone talks about Klay Thompson and James Wiseman being out for the Warriors. Yeah. Jamal Murray was a borderline all-star. Like, are we forgetting who he was in the bubble? He is literally one of the best scorers on the perimeter in the league.
You wanna know
He's
what's
a
the
good perimeter
difference?
defender.
Years ago.
I mean, he's
bubble.
how old is Klay Thompson compared to Jamal Murray?
Look at Clay's game and look at Jamal's game.
It's a fact.
I
He's a
mean,
plug and play.
Clay's game is not
Clay's a
really-
plug and
Klay
play.
hasn't played in 2 years. Jamal, it's been less than a year since he last played. I'm talking about Jamal specifically, not
No,
Klay.
of course. I just think Clay's
We're gonna
game
talk-
is so.
If we're gonna talk about that's what I'm saying. I think
MPJ was also huge.
everyone talks about everyone talks
and
about
he's not coming back. This year.
I know. Everyone talks about Klay and Wiseman coming back, but we don't talk about Jamal Murray coming back. That's like my point here. Like, he was a borderline all-star. Last year was his best year after he tore it up in the bubble, and he showed he can perform in the playoffs. He was the number 2, the perfect Robin to Jokic. And then you have Aaron Gordon, who you've been sleeping on behind the scenes a little bit. You've been sleeping on him. He's been good with Jokic.
His
awesome
defense
with Jokic.
is solid. His offense
because
is
Jokic is
so
going to make guys
inconsistent.
look better.
That's how good Jokic
But
is.
I
And
know
Aaron
he's-
Gordon's been good
but
with
okay,
them.
so
You are a Denver fan.
You are a Denver
You are
Denver
a
fan.
Denver
fan.
No, you just sound like a Denver fan. Okay, can the Nuggets beat Phoenix, bro?
I think they could. I think they're in tier 2.
You think they could?
I think the
So
Nuggets are in tier 2.
you're telling me the Nuggets could
A healthy Nuggets. You gotta say that.
I just want to make
You
this.
gotta say
I just want to make this clear. You're telling me the Nuggets can beat the Suns, but you don't. It sounds like from what you've been saying this entire time, Utah really has no chance against Phoenix.
I view Utah as the 3rd to 6th best team in the West in the playoffs. In the regular season, they're top 3, yes, but in like a 7-game series where teams can directly see, all right, this is your issue here and there, and they're just targeting that nonstop, and then you talk about the Jazz signing Rudy Gay so he could be that small ball 5, right? That's so cool, right?
Yeah. They have a Hassan Whiteside too, though.
That was their 3rd biggest issue. You didn't address your number 1 issue. What is Danny Ainge and Justin Zanuck, or what are they going to do in Utah to fix that one huge issue on the perimeter? You need to be able to stop guys. The West is star-laden. Steph Curry, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, all of these guys, LeBron. You can't stop them with one leg Mike Conley or Bojan Bogdanovic.
Well, yeah, that's why Golden State is on a different level. They can stop Phoenix. The only star on Phoenix, the only true star on Phoenix is D Book, bro. Chris Paul is the floor general leader for Phoenix, but he's not a superstar player, bro. He's not a top 20 player in the NBA. It's not.
He's not top 20.
He's leading the league in assists.
No, bro, he's not.
He's leading the league in assists.
No, he's not. James Harden is above him in assists.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not.
And assist totals, maybe.
No, James Harden leads the league in assists, guys.
No,
per game.
No, yes.
Per game average.
Trust me, he doesn't. Chris Paul averages around like 10.4. Harden's around
James is like 11.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
He's not.
No, he's at 9.8.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Chris Paul, I think, maybe tied.
Can I ask you a question? Because you guys keep saying Utah doesn't have this stopper.
They're done.
Who's Phoenix's stopper?
Are you serious? Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, Cam Johnson. DeAndre Ayton was so good for the playoffs.
Mikal ain't stopped Middleton. Middleton was cooking him.
But Middleton ain't stopped PG either. So what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Like honestly, I'm getting upset. What are we doing here? The same guy who was cooking Russell O'Neal was giving Bridges and Jay Crowder the business. Cam Johnson the business. So what this so stopper? What like
Mikal Bridges has only gotten better. That was his first time in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Like
That's fair.
that plays a role.
That's fair. Okay, I can see that.
Okay, we also have seen in the past that just because you perform in your first time in the playoffs doesn't mean you're going to do it again.
Peachy average. He shot 29% from 3, 42 from the field. He just
who are you talking about?
Volume. Paul George.
What are you talking
about?
You watched the series. You really thought it was because of Bridges?
Because he had the volume is why he had the point totals that he did. His efficiency was garbage.
You think it was because of Bridges? Did you watch the series?
Who else would it be? They gave a plethora of schemes at him because he was the primary option.
First of all, those numbers is because he had 2 bad games in that playoff series. Not because of Bridges. He was missing wide open shots. He was just missing shots. The whole Clippers team in game 5, I believe, no, game 4 in Los Angeles, the game that went down to the wire, they were missing wide open shots because their legs were dead because they played about 10, 12 games in like 14 days. They were literally tied. It was back-to-back 7-game series in round 1, then a 6-game series in round 2. Phoenix they swept the Nuggets, so they had a lot of they had a lot of, you know what I'm saying? They had a lot of energy. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't because nobody was really stopped. He had 36 in Phoenix. Game
I'm not
1.
saying he didn't have great games.
And then he had a highlight game in game 5.
He's Paul George. He should have a game.
That's what I'm saying. Like it wasn't like this stopper Phoenix thing. Like
that's what I'm talking about Utah though. Like Utah's issues. Like no matter how you want to spin it, Utah is much worse defending on the perimeter than Phoenix.
They have issues, but Phoenix and Utah. Okay, I just want to ask you this: if they face in the playoffs, what's the series going to?
Who? Utah and Phoenix.
Yes.
I think
anything less than 6 is disrespect.
I agree.
It's totally dependent on context. Is Mike Conley healthy?
Is Chris Paul healthy?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have campaign than Trent Forrest / Jared Butler running my offense.
I don't know.
Right?
Jared Butler can be just as good
I'd
as
rather
campaign.
have.
What has Jared Butler shown you this year?
He hasn't gotten minutes, but he can be just as good. He can just be good as campaign.
Because you know what the problem is?
Oh, am I taking Jordan Clarkson or campaign? Jordan Clarkson.
Not even that. You know what the problem is? What you're saying? If Mike Conley is even playing, I think what's good about that is that now Joe Ingles is not becoming a starter, and now they have a guy who they have Ingles and Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench. Those are 2 of the most dangerous players coming off the bench in the league. And that's better than Campaign and Cam Johnson and whoever else.
Ingles might also be traded.
Joe Ingles is better than Campaign.
He might also be traded as well by the deadline too.
Clarkson is way better than every bench player on Phoenix. Easily. Like, it's not even close.
Cam Johnson is the two-way product. Like, Jordan Clarkson's a bad defender. He's not helping Utah on that end of the floor.
But he's helping you
Rudy Gay's
so
probably
much
just as good as Cam Johnson.
But what happens when Jordan Clarkson's not hitting shots in
no,
Game 7?
it's a fact.
That's tough. That's tough.
But he's not
Riv. Is Rudy Gay just as good as Cam Johnson?
Yes.
He's
as
just
good as Cam Johnson.
Rudy Gay.
Yes. A little better.
Rudy Gay's like he's nice. I don't know. I mean, he's getting older as well. He's another Cam Johnson. Excuse me. He's getting better. And Rudy Gay's how old? 36. You know what I mean? But I don't think that's ludicrous.
They're the same.
But like,
they're on the same level though.
I mean,
That's
the
what I'm
point
saying.
is, by the end of the season, do you expect Rudy Gay to sustain this, like, and he hasn't been awesome this year in Utah. The thing is, he's been dealing with injuries, and he's getting older. Like, he's not getting better.
We
Cam
need
Johnson
a
is.
Utah and Phoenix matchup.
I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen.
I'm sick of this.
If it happens
likely.
I think in the second round, it's
And
gonna
I
It's
can't
very
wait till
possible.
Donovan just completely dominates Booker, and I'm just gonna come.
I mean,
here
right
and
now,
look at you guys.
Phoenix is 2, Utah's 3. They're going to meet.
I like the Clippers Nuggets. Maybe Nuggets. I think the Clippers are more likely to
I
win
really
a
don't-
championship
I
than
don't-
the Nuggets.
I
But
don't want
like
to see Denver.
Yeah.
Denver and Utah are like in the same playing field for me.
Yeah, so we're gonna cut this episode short because we all have New Year's Eve stuff to get
That's
to.
a fact.
Tomorrow is January 1st, and we want to give you guys a huge shout out for such an amazing year. This year's been amazing. Happy New Year's Eve to all you guys and your family. Happy New Year's to all of you. We have merch dropping on pickasidepodcast.com. It's going to be a Pick a Side shirt right now, and it says Pick a Side. It's our logo, but without the circle. It just says Pick a Side. If you go on the website, you can see it.
It'll be up next week.
Yes.
Next week.
The shirts, okay, it's up next week. The shirts are what? How much again?
It's $25. You get in a white, a gray, a black. It says pick a side in black letters, I believe, white letters for the black tee. It looks really cool. $25. And again, they're only going to be up for a limited time. Once the shirts are gone, we're going to drop hoodies, but the shirts will be making a return in the future. So if you miss out on the shirts, unfortunately, it's going to take some time for they come back and make an appearance.
Yes, and you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast, on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod, and please make sure to follow our Twitter. We got to get
Absolutely.
that
We need
number
that.
up
That's the
there.
one
You
we
got to
need up.
start jumping.
That's the one.
And while you're at it, we have our @names in the bio. Drew's, mine. Riv has no Twitter. We're working on that. Trust me.
TBD,
JC's.
man.
So yeah, drop a
You're gonna
follow
have to
for
sit
us
down
as well.
with Twitter or something, man.
Yeah. Thank you guys for an amazing year. We're ending this stream short. This is the shortest Pick a Side episode in
Ever?
probably like a year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for listening or watching, and we'll see you next time.
Hair is